Good morning to most, good afternoon to others, and good evening to our viewing audience across the pond. My name is Jason Miles, your host for another episode of This is Revolution Podcast. If you're new to the channel, please hit like, please hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notifications bell as we are constantly adding new episodes, adding new shows all together, and oftentimes doing cross streams with other channels. We had a great week of programming here on TIR. We started off the week with a timely discussion, something I'm actually working out a piece on, which is why we even discussed it Tuesday. Hopefully it'll be done this week. Talking about longtime public figure Cornel West throwing his hat in the presidential arena. And what does that say about the political imagination of a burgeoning left that seems to be captured by the idea of electoral politics as consumer choices? Then we had Ryan Grimm and Neha Wadekar, probably saying her name wrong, on to discuss big tech's involvement in shaping the education systems in Africa. The usual gang will not be here, as MT is taking some time off, and I'll be joined by true crime and reality TV aficionado Taylor Hearn, formerly of the Hoot and Holler podcast. But before I bring in Taylor, just want to let everyone know that because Gene and Pascal ended the show a little quicker Thursday than I thought they were going to, we're going to be opening up the phone lines today. For new people, we usually open up the phone lines in our patron-only champagne room. If you'd like to have access to champagne rooms past and present, so you can be in on the champagne room inside jokes. I'm sure you see people mentioning Rotel Dip in the chat or Harry Potter. If you want to know what any of those things mean, if you would like to be part of the live audience of the Mau Mau Hour with Pascal Robert, if you would like to join us for movie night, there's only one way: become a patron for as little as $3 a month or $30 for the year. It can all be yours. And this Friday, we'll be doing a movie night. We'll be watching Pump Up the Volume. I know. What makes that cool is you cannot find that anywhere on the net. Trust me, I've scoured. I've used the VPN to look in various countries to see if I could find this movie. It is not available for streaming. So we'll be watching it Friday night through the Discord channel. The only way you can get access to the Discord channel and watch the movie with us is become a patron. I'm very excited about this. I've been talking about this a lot. I'm writing about that too in this piece. Before we start again, I'd like to say thank you to the patron community and all the subscribers on YouTube and all audio only podcast subscribers. Thank you guys so much. You people make this show possible. That being said, let's bring in the special guest host of the day, Taylor Hearn.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
How are you?
I'm great. I am cracking up. People are going buck fucking wild in the comments for the theme music, and that's beautiful. I love it.
The opening show music?
Yes.
Well, thank you, everybody, because
yeah.
I think I said this. I don't remember if I said this on the main show or if I said this in the champagne room. Once a month, someone always leaves a comment about how much they hate it, how loud it is, how off-putting it is. And then I go, do you think these aren't books behind me like the rest of these nerds you watch on TV? These are posters from, they're not even close to all of them, but from my life as a touring musician. I played those instruments on that song that you hear in the beginning, and this show started off as something to do in between touring. So
you got shooters in the comments. You don't need to worry. People talking shit. I'm praying for them. Because there are some people I think willing to literally go to war for it. It's beautiful.
If if you're an early listener to this show, because I so didn't think anybody was paying attention, it was like the more aggressive stuff too. So I'd have like Avi Chomsky on, and he'd be hearing me go like, ah! Like all that kind of. So that and I still record music. So if anyone's interested, the band's called Bitter Lake. I put most of it out there for free. If you'd like to buy it, that's awesome. But if not, please listen to it, check it out. It's not all offensively heavy, but all the music you hear on the show, everyone's intro song.
That's beautiful. I love it.
So just throw that out there.
Okay, Mozart. Okay, we see. Okay.
When I wanted to do this show, my people on TIR, everybody's eyes, I wouldn't say glazed over, but they were like, oh. And immediately, Mean Gene Bajlan goes, get Taylor. Get Taylor and Harvey. They'd be perfect. That's a horrible Gene Bajlan.
No, I thought he was in the room with. I thought he was in the room with me. That was spot on. You could probably call and get his credit limit increased.
So shout out to Gene Bajlan for helping put this together. And also, real quick, before I even get into the show, I want to, because the gang isn't here today, I want to send a big shout out to the whole TIR staff, everybody on the team. I was saying it the other day in the group chat. I hate to say the word blessed, but I'm so blessed to be around these cats that make this show possible. We all don't agree on everything, but these are some of my best friends in the world. I love these dudes to death, and I love doing the show with you guys. So I love you guys.
Aw, I love that.
I just wanted to say that to my friends. I love those guys. They're so much fun.
They are.
When you get to do this kind of stuff, like when we get the giggles, we try not to, but that's how we are in literal physical life when we're together in the same room. It's especially me and Kuba. It's the giggle time.
Dude, me and Harvey, we had dinner last week. Me, Harvey, and Joshua, and we were on the floor of a place we had to cook our own food, but that's another story. I'll tell them a champagne room sometime. We were laughing our asses off. At one point, I was like laughing. I looked like a seal. I was laughing so hard. So I get it. There's truly nothing like the bond with people that you make insane content with. So I love it. It's again, you're blessed.
I love it. I love it. I got to go back to where I'm from in the Bay Area last week, and I got to meet up with one of the guys that I do music with, and we haven't played together or seen each other in 3 years. And
wow.
We still keep in contact via text and stuff. But I got to see, he plays with his dad, and his dad played with a bunch of like musicians back in the day. His dad's like an old school funk blues guitar player, and I had so much fun with him, and it just made me go, oh, dude, I would love to go tour again. And so we've all been, in our group text, throwing around the idea of how we all get back out and at least one more time.
Yeah.
So we're trying to do a Bay Area TIR show where we can get the Bitter Lake band together and do like just one last set.
I really hope that happens. I really do. I think that would be so much fun.
3 other dudes are hoping equally as hard for that.
Yeah.
Well, let me get into what we're going to talk about today, because I do want to open up the phone lines. I was not joking about that. I am a bit of a masochist, and sometimes I want to open up the public phone lines and see what happens. We've been, I don't want to say lucky, but for the most part, we haven't gotten like crazy calls. And I think a lot of that has to do with the community that's being built by the moderators. And I don't say this enough. Shout out to all the fucking moderators. Thank you guys so much for curating an environment where people can feel safe. You know, I get yelled at by other shows because they say, hey, you're not strict enough on some of these people. I try to give people a pretty long leash. I'm real big on freedom of speech. I mean, I come out of punk, so I mean, there's not much you're gonna say to really make me go, you're out of here.
Yeah.
It's more like, you want to see me outside? And I got to get rid of that. But
I think we should fight some people. I think we should fight people on the phone lines today.
I'd rather not. The sun is finally, you can't tell in the darkness of my studio side of my bedroom, but the sun is finally out. It has been historically gray in the region in which I live. Historically gray. The sun is out. This is almost punishment for me right now. I'm going to unbutton this shirt to my navel and go. We're
going to go to Margaritaville today. This is Margaritaville.
You know, hey, just because you said it. There you go.
Yeah.
There
hell yeah.
And I'm going to go out and finish writing this piece and some other stuff at the cafe as the sun shines down on me outside.
You're doing it wrong. You got to go to the pool today. That's what I'm doing after this.
Well, there's just a beach down the way. Remember, I live by the ocean.
Yeah, but there's sand. Everybody talks like the beach is so much fun, and no. Mm-mm. What's in the ocean is none of our business. And I don't want any living thing to touch my legs while I'm in the water. I'm bougie.
You are.
I am. I'm a tourist.
I think you would like the beach here, but there are some places we could go. There's private beaches here too.
I do like private things, but
like you could literally be like Pinky out, just bouged out.
Okay. I'll have to see where Taylor Swift's playing her shows at in Mexico. Maybe we can.
That chick is not coming this way. If she comes to San Diego, remember I'm closer to San Diego than I am Mexico City.
That's true.
And it's a cheaper flight. So
we'll see.
But it's cheaper to stay here.
Yeah.
True crime as propaganda.
I'm ready.
And I watched some true crime to get me ready. There's a new Netflix documentary that I watched.
Which one was it?
Oh, I think it's called Killer Victim or Victim something about victims.
Okay.
But I'm a huge fan of the true crime genre. A longtime fan of the genre myself. I do often question why I like watching these true stories of macabre events. True crime stories and the made-for-TV movies based on actual events are dramatic stories with well-developed characters and a usually cathartic ending, all without making any real moral or political statements. Good guys and bad guys, and in the end, the perpetrators are brought to justice. But how does what we watch affect how we understand crime, the legal system, victims, and reinforcing stereotypes? How can true crime reinforce underclass ideology views that poor people that commit certain crimes are inherently defective? The majority of crime that is actually committed is property crime and robbery. Murder and rape, which are common plot devices in the true crime genre, are more often than not perpetrated not by strangers, but by people known to the victim. Also within the genre, there can be an obfuscation, I can't even say the word that I wrote, about who are the real victims of stranger sexual assault and murder when it comes to women. Black and brown women, Native women, trans women suffer higher rates of sexual assault, but aren't normally profiled, especially if they work in the sex industry. When these cases are profiled, the morality of the woman is often questioned, and the empathy is looked at differently. There must be a savage nature of the crime to engage the audience that usually is far removed from this reality. So does true crime reinforce the perfect victim trope? In this post, George the police and abolishing is a propagandic pushback on the once popular narrative that cops were the problem. In a recent true crime doc I watched on Netflix about the infamous Night Stalker killer Richard Ramirez, police abuses of authority were glanced over because they had to catch the monster. And Ramirez was indeed a monster, one that was made, not born. What do we make of this tantalizing genre, Taylor?
Man, true crime is for me, it's a really kind of complicated beast to kind of tackle because, again, Harvey and I did a couple episodes about true crime on our former podcast, and there is this like very primal thing like in the back of your brain that is like it's almost like a compulsion to like want to hear these things. And then there's also the idea of like, what am I consuming for entertainment, and like how does that come back to like people who like this is the worst thing that's ever gonna happen in their family. And there's just a lot of true crime of like someone who has enjoyed it as someone who has really probably in the last 3 or 4 years become really critical of a lot of the true crime stuff that I'm seeing. It can be hard to find things that like do interest you because like I am interested in the genre, but of things that also align with my politics of like I don't want to listen to propaganda. I don't want to listen to things that praise the police or, you know, or only perfect victims. So it's a tough thing, and it's like it feels very embedded in our society.
What's interesting is I think what we look at as true crime is I want to cast a big net.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we have Chris Hansen on the screen, and you know Gene goes in his Gene accent. I won't even try to do it anymore.
Please, you do a perfect Gene impression.
Is the pedophile guy true crime? The Catch a Predator. And what was funny was like the Brits were going back and forth about what is true crime in the American sense, because they have their own true crime stuff. And there's, I don't know if you've seen the new Black Mirror on Netflix.
I smoke entirely too much marijuana to be watching Black Mirror. I got scared watching a game show last night and had to go lay under my weighted blanket.
I think you're smoking that shit Smokey was smoking on Friday. The F Hector. That's the F Hector PCP laced weed.
It's that damn Oklahoma weed that I got.
Stop buying it from the essays. But have me in Debo chicken coop.
I love that we're handling this very sensitive topic with the care and love that it deserves.
Hey, well, look, it's Saturday. Saturday is my fun day, my I don't have to run day.
Okay.
But seriously, I find this an interesting topic and somewhat important because when you look at trends, the movies and TV shows definitely follow trends, right? So after the George Floyd moment, a lot of stuff is being made and police violence is getting inserted in everything, right? It's always subtext somewhere. There was even a movie that the gentleman that did Birth of a Nation, I don't want to call it a remake, but like his take on Birth of a Nation, which was about the slave revolt, that another friend of the show worked on that movie, but he made a movie about a dude who's, I think his son gets killed by a cop, unwarranted shooting. I can't think of the name of it. And they take over a police station. And then, you know, all the Netflix and Amazon were like, you know, in this time, we have all these black movies to calm you Negroes down. You know, we even curated a whole section of movies with good Negroes, and maybe even some of them play cops.
Yeah.
Watch the Lethal Weapon movies while you're at it. Um, and there seems to be a pivot in this post George Floyd era. I feel like I'm seeing less news stories on police brutality and more stories on rising crime in urban centers and growing visible homeless encampments.
Hmm.
Uh, what role now is true crime playing in this? And I'll even up the ante because I don't know if you got this story where you live, but in San Francisco, a C-suite executive at Square was murdered, and all the tech bros. And when I say tech bros, I mean like the Elon Musks of the world, the big timer people that are literally the guys that started these companies, made just scathing statements on the state of San Francisco, liberal politics, the fact that during Chesa Boudin's very short time in office as district attorney, um, he was too lax on criminals. And as you're seeing more and more, smash and grabs in stores, and a lot of stores are leaving, and they're leaving for various reasons, right? Just literally leases were up during the shelter in place. And it was kind of an opportunity for businesses that weren't doing that well beforehand to get out of Dodge, because the way we shop is changing. And also they can have a bit of a capital strike now, like, hey, you want us to stay, we need tax breaks. But it feels like the narrative is changing on what the societal ills are. Now it's devolving urban centers filled with roving criminals and massive city homeless encampments. And so as this man got murdered, and so the pushback was, oh, you know why? Because the city is filled with drug addicts, and a drug addict stabbed him. So like I said earlier in the show, in my opening monologue, most murders are committed by, people that and that man ended up being killed by someone he knows. And it looks like it may even have been an honor killing. We're not going to get into the particulars of the case, but it definitely wasn't the story that these billionaires wanted to tell, and they haven't retracted.
Mm-mm.
So what role do you think true crime plays in all that?
Yeah, so I think it actually plays a really, really interesting role in that, especially during the pandemic. I think there was, and I know I was somebody who did this, like the very beginning days of the pandemic. I listened to true crime, kind of felt like nonstop. And I think if you listen to this stuff so much, and if you're listening to places or you're listening to true crime or watching true crime, and it's not from like a really nuanced point of view, it is two ding dongs who got microphones in the pandemic. And I'm allowed to say that as a ding dong who got a microphone during the pandemic to start
Yeah.
a podcast. Um, and not coming at it from a critical point of view. And so I think there has been something that I've had to do is not only killing the cop that's inside your head, but you also have to kill like that prosecuting attorney that's in your head. And I think the more that people have listened to this, and the more also that people have gotten Ring doorbells and they know every coming and going of their neighborhood, or they have just this idea in their head that like now that they are in constant danger all the time. I think that has led to an increase of concern about property crimes or
Mhm.
shoplifting or whatever, because people think like, oh well, like shoplifting is this like gateway drug into stabbing a C-suite executive. And I think you like if you do that, if you listen to that and you consume it from like a non-critical source, which like I'm guilty of. Like there's sometimes on a long drive back from wherever, there's nothing I love more than turning on like a trashy kind of true crime podcast to just get me through the drive.
Mhm.
But that just like grows that cop that's in your head just stronger and stronger and stronger. And I think that's what's leading to now it's like, oh well, it's this, this murderer that we heard about on Netflix or on Crime Junkie or whatever it is, oh, he started out stealing when he was 15. So if we have these people who are stealing, they're going to come into my home in East Fayetteville, Arkansas, and they're going to murder me. And it's like, Diane, I promise you that's not going to happen.
It's funny. It's funny that you say that, because, you know, another thing I'm seeing a rise of is YouTubers that do true crime stuff, or just like daily crime.
Mm-hmm.
So more like property crime. Hey, this store got robbed. Here's a person getting maybe attacked, and the Ring camera caught it. And these things are getting a massive amount of views.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know too many people that don't like true crime. I mean, it is a popular genre because it does fall into the whole thriller genre.
Yeah.
And getting ready for this show, and as a shitty show host, I forgot to send you some of the research material that I read.
Listen, I was just coming in. I have an opinion on everything. And I figured if we had any dead space, I could just talk about Dune for 10 minutes.
I'm going to need you to keep that in mind, because I'm going to need you to do that when I set up for the phone line.
Okay.
But I was reading some stuff from some medical journals about true crime and kind of the problematic nature of it. And I even saw somebody write in the comments here, out of the corner of my eye, they said that kind of the flip side to Copaganda is the left's statistics. And I do think there's a problem with statistics, because if you think about statistics and the way they're kind of explained for crime, it usually goes, over the past 30 years, things have gotten better. And I'm like, okay, for me as a California native, 30 years means, yeah, I get it. Mm-hmm. Because you had this massive war on drugs that incarcerated millions of people, and you had this free flow of inexpensive cocaine that caused gang wars that what we're seeing right now is nothing close to that. Go ahead.
And I also think it's really important when you think about statistics of crimes, and I'm by no means a statistics person at all, but where do we get those statistics from? We get them literally from the cops. We get them from, so it's like it's your data, your conclusions can only be as good as your data set. And like, we see cops lie about, I mean, it's shit that doesn't even matter sometimes. Like, if they're willing to lie about like these like shit that doesn't matter on a police report, or if they're willing to even lie, again, as we've seen about the big things, like how serious can we take this? How seriously can we even take these statistics? Like, you know,
it all depends on how you want to look at it, right? Because if you look at over 30 years, crime is definitely going to be down over the last 30 years. But if we look at it maybe over the last 3, are you seeing a rise? And I think the problem is that if you're going that far back, that's almost like some Steven Pinker level shit. Oh, everything's more peaceful. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, I was just in San Francisco, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't necessarily feel safe walking around at night. I mean, I did walk back at like 2 a.m. and it was fine, but
flex.
No, it's not. Again, if you rob me, you're just practicing. I don't have any money. If I carry any cash, it's pesos. So they're like, hey, break yourself. I'm like, brother, I got like 60 pesos on me. That's enough to get you a taco in my hood. You can't get shit with that. So like, there's nothing I have that you want. My clothes are used. Trust me. I don't have dope shoes. I don't have nothing. But living here, it's very different. I feel extremely comfortable walking around at night because it's a whole different environment. So there is a reality that there is a lot of, robberies. That is part of the main crimes you see are like face-to-face robberies. And sometimes those things can get violent. Sometimes people get hurt. And that's an uncomfortable reality, but it doesn't hit everybody the same way. And for a long time, those stories weren't really popular. The true crime genre really blows up in the post-70s victims' rights movement that comes out of the women's rights movement, coupled with conservative administrations in the early 80s that are pushing another tough on crime narrative, because you do have, kind of the degradation of these cities. New York was a nightmare. Toussaint said this on the show a few weeks back, where she said a lot of people in New York that remember the 80s are afraid of a return to that moment. So I think sometimes we belittle a righteous fear that people that live in these urban enclaves actually have. Again, as someone that has come up in that kind of environment, and I don't think this moment is like the 90s or the 80s at all. It's its own interesting thing, but I think it's going to have long-term repercussions like that time did. Maybe not in a federal legislation, but you're starting to see politicians start to talk about being a little tougher on crime, especially from the local sense. Again, I don't know what it's like by you in Fayetteville, but in major cities, mayors that kind of kept the peace by saying, we're going to defund this, we're going to divert this, we're going to rename the cops this. Now they're all saying, look, we're going to get more police. There was a huge crackdown before I went to San Francisco, where they brought in the California Highway Patrol to do almost like a stop and frisks type deal with people in the street, because they're like, we have to stop kind of just street crime, just like street robberies. So it's an interesting moment, and I think that what's scary is people always need simple solutions, and true crime gives you simple narratives. There's a bad guy doing bad stuff. He gets caught by a cop.
And no, and I think that is a huge appeal of true crime, is that like a lot of these are, at least for the listener or the viewer, is that at the end of it you have an answer, and like you get to see like this narrative that we're kind of told since children, that like the police are the good guys. And so you see these, and you see like this like hard working detective like smoking cigarettes and drinking Diet Coke, like cracking this case by the midnight oil. And it and in a way it just, and I think especially like I think the pandemic had a lot to do with it, because you saw podcasts in general, but true crime really truly took off in 2020. And I think in a time where there was just like so much uncertainty and just panic about like what was going on, it was nice to be able to like, okay, hey, my life isn't as bad as it could. I could be being featured on one of these. And I think there is that like that mentality of it. And as far of like, I definitely agree with you on the point that like we can sometimes be dismissive of people who are afraid, because like, we talk about property crimes or, muggings or whatever. And that is a scary thing to have happen to you. And it's like, how do we walk? I feel like it's a very thin line of like, how do we walk this line of like not being a cop about it, but then also not just being like, well, you'll just get over it. Because I think there is a lot of nuance that is missing from that conversation in a lot of just media like that I've consumed. And even just sometimes in my own, like just personal, like it's always a, it's always a, just a kind of a pool of either way of like, okay, how do I actually feel about this? And like, is that how I should feel about it? It's always very complicated.
Yeah. Cause property crime is not fun, right? I've never met anybody that's like, oh yeah, dude, I love getting robbed.
Yeah.
Especially at gunpoint. Ooh, it's my favorite.
No.
This shit sucks. And if you've ever been robbed, it's especially if someone's like broken into your car. It's intrusive.
Yeah.
It's
and
violent.
It can like, it can leave you feeling of like that space that you thought that was yours is no longer safe. And yeah, that's a shitty way to feel.
And I'm too stupid to like not react.
I'll
be honest. I'm not like, this peaceful cat that walks around and if someone steals from me, I'm like, go with God.
Yeah.
I've tried to help people see their maker sooner than later. overreacting over like, dude, why'd you do that?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I get it to a certain point, but then, again, sometimes you take a step back and be like, okay, is it that serious?
Exactly.
There's a reason why I don't own a firearm.
Listen, I think that's a very responsible way to feel. Of like, man, I kind of feel the same way. I'm like, I'm a really emotional person.
Mhm.
I don't think I would shoot somebody. I'm actually pretty scared of guns, but I probably shouldn't be like announcing on a live stream, I'm unarmed.
Yeah, I'm too.
You want to come?
I'm,
You want to come to Fayetteville, Arkansas? Hit me up. You don't have to come rob me. We can just have a beer.
Well, let's look. We have Chris Hansen on the screen. What do you make of shows that were popular, like To Catch a Predator, where quote sexual perverts are caught in a fishing expedition? Their sexual fantasies with a minor are read back to them by host Chris Hansen. There they were, to embarrass and frighten the child-rearing audience.
Mm-hmm.
What role does a show like To Catch a Predator play in the successful fear-mongering we're seeing right now with right-wingers and their book banning and anti-trans hate?
Oh man, To Catch a Predator is such a complicated, guilty. I don't want to say guilty pleasure because I never feel good after watching it. Or like, I'm not kidding, Jason. This is so weird. Like my family used to gather to watch To Catch a Predator. It was like
they go catch a pervert on the TV.
I mean, okay, Dad, Henry, is that you? Your Father's Day gift is arriving tomorrow. It is. No, but it's really complicated because I do think there is merit of like showing kids like, hey, there's some real perverts on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also think it's more important sometimes for the parents to see it because I had unbelievable, unfettered, granted, dial-up internet in Dogpatch, Arkansas. And I mean, I was running wild. I learned things on the internet at 13 years old that truly I should have never seen, even now in my 30s. So I think there is a really great conversation to be had with that. And I also just like, I think we do now, and not like in the QAnon way, but I think we do need to protect children from fucking freaks on the internet. I do like now, as somebody whose politics has moved as almost as far left as they could from where I was when I was 15, 16, 17 years old. I when I watch back, because like it shows up on my TikTok For You page a lot, which is kind of weird. But like now watching back, I think, okay, the evidence, yes, that we have against these people is very damning. They showed up to a they showed up to a house where they allegedly believed like a 14-year-old child was going to be. But then it's like, okay, what if like the like due process of like, we're just gonna blast these people and then like potentially put them in danger for a crime they may or may not be convicted for.
Yeah.
And so it's like I have conflicting opinions about that, but then I also have conflicting opinions or like feelings about like a grown man who shows up to somewhere where he thinks a 14-year-old girl is going to be, with condoms and like Mike's hard lemonade. Like,
I don't want to laugh at that.
no, but like it's also just like how like you want to be like, okay, I don't want to be a cop here, but dog, you look so guilty right now, and I'm not a judge. I've not been to law school. But like you have to realize like how this looks, and yeah, I just
a lot of those cases were thrown out because they were entrapping the dudes.
Yeah. And
yeah,
I do think that, and sorry, I love to get off topic, as we know, but to come back to your original question of like, I think you can see, I think To Catch a Predator and Dateline kind of in general is it kind of it's a road leading kind of directly to, I feel like, where we're at now of, parents being like, oh, somebody who looks to me like they might be trans or looks to me like they might be a pervert is in the bathroom. I'm gonna like accost them with a gun, like it's for me, like, it's a pretty clear, of just like this paranoia that I think exists in a world where we can think about like our deepest, darkest worries and fears, and we can find content on it to like feed into it and be like, yeah, this is a problem. Like, if I wanted to find a YouTube video about Taylor Swift fans who accidentally leave their apartment oven on and burn down an apartment complex, I could probably find it. And I don't know that being able to engage with that fear has led to a healthy place for any of us, left, right, whatever.
Mm-hmm. No, I think, to your point, what that stuff does is it paints a picture that your child exists in a world of perversion.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see this new pushback on the perversion of the school library, which is probably a place your child doesn't spend much time in unless they have to be there for some school assignment.
Yeah.
I feel very confident going up to anyone's kid and asking them how to use the Dewey Decimal System, and the kid would look at me like I was speaking Italian. Right?
I love Italian.
Like, what the fuck did this guy just say? Dad, some black guys speaking Italian to me. Some weird stuff's going on. But seriously, I feel that way. I don't. Kids aren't going to the library anymore. That's okay. I'm not mad about it.
This is a very Gen X thing to get stuck on.
Yes, to be like, the Dewey, who in a day and age where everyone's like, where our kids need new tablets. I've been to a youth prison facility and they had tablets. So everybody's got tablets.
Yeah.
Right. I wasn't there because I was locked up. I was there to teach. That didn't sound right, but
no.
But seriously, I don't think your kid's going in there. Whatever book you found that you felt needed to be banned, for your 8-year-old, I think there is something to be said, because I don't know if you watch these banned book videos.
Unfortunately, fortunately, I don't have to. I get live updates on any book banning drama from Harvey and Joshua. I actually made a joke the other day. I shouldn't make this on a recording, but it was very funny, and I'll do anything for a bit. Listen, Joshua owns a bookstore, and anytime a book gets banned, he sells a lot of books, and I want Harvey to have nice things. So I'm not going to say where I'm at on book bans. This is all very much a joke. I'm like anti-book bans, but for the sake of this bit, I'm not going to say where I'm at. But what I am pro is Harvey having nice things. So
you're like DeSantis. You're doing the Lord's work.
I literally am.
Like, hey, thanks a lot. Well, there's 1,200 books that got banned in Florida. 1,200.
Yeah, and a lot of them, the public libraries, I don't even think we're carrying.
Yeah.
And I also think that, like, it just comes back to this idea. It's like I think, like, literally since caveman times, if you don't want kids to access something, one of the worst things you can do is ban it, because, like, the first thing they're going to do is be like, well, I know what I'm doing. I know I'm going to go to Barnes and Noble and find.
Someone says, anyone old enough to remember mobile library trucks? I do remember mobile library trucks. I remember the library. Growing up, for me, the library was a public meet space that had, and maybe libraries are still like this, that had like community events. That's how you got tickets to see the A's if you read so many books, and you had to do a quick little book report for the library and prove that you actually read the book.
Damn.
And you could get A's tickets back in the day, back in the 80s. But
we didn't take reading that seriously in Arkansas. I'm good. I got to be honest.
That's why when I worked in the Gulf of Mexico, one of my country head chefs looked at me and said, "You from California with all them smart thugs?" He said, "Where hoodlums talk proper." He goes, "Ice Cube and them talk proper." I couldn't even say anything. What do you say when someone tells you that? You're just like, ah.
Yeah, dog, I guess.
I'm sorry. Reading ass motherfucker.
You look like a real reader, and I mean that offensively.
Reading ass hoodlums. I no comeback for that. But it does kind of To Catch a Predator put in motion this idea that and this is now this is where statistics to me actually play a pivotal role, because when you go, okay, there's this world your child exists in filled with predators. The internet is a cesspool of adult men that want to bang your kid. And God forbid your kid gets in a chat room somewhere because they're going to get snatched up by a horrible person. Even in my industry, the music industry, there was a band. I think they're called the Lost Prophets, if you remember that band.
Oh, yes.
In the early 2000s. That dude, talk about a monster. Oof. I don't know if you remember the singer for that group.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
as a regrettable current pop punk fan, I am very familiar with the fact that a lot of the dudes in these bands, not great.
I won't get into stories that I heard. Warped Tour stories. But
God, sometimes like I see my Spotify like wrapped into year. I'm like, I can't share this. Listen, I wish I could stop listening to Brand New. I really want to not listen to Brand New, but
some of these.
Why am I admitting so many embarrassing things about myself today? I'm like, I'm back in Hoot and Holler mode. I'm like, you guys want to hear about what I ate last night?
I'm not embarrassed about anything that I like. Give a damn.
No.
Like what you like. Fuck them people. But I do think the statistics matter, because when you start looking about, okay, well, most of these sexual assaults of children happen by acquaintances within the family. You know, the vast majority. So, you know, be vigilant around, you know, the touchy uncle. Also, the internet is, you know, you want to monitor what your kids are looking at, right? But still, I think there's something to be said about that.
Yeah. But then I also think of like, and this is going to sound creepy when I say it, but like, are kids even in chat rooms anymore? Like, are chat rooms like, you know, so it's like, yeah, so it's like, okay, hey, like, yeah, we're watching this Chris Hansen, but like, even these things, like, again, that I get on, just me as like a 30-year-old or, you know, 30 something person of like, I'm getting like this content, but it's like, is this even like applicable anymore? Like, you know,
I don't know what kids are doing. My kids are all pretty old, and they seem to just play video games.
Yeah.
And want to show off. Like I can't see them giving too much of a damn.
Yeah.
But there's a community space online where we can talk. Like I can't see them.
No, I can't see. Yeah, I can't see any like I don't know like a ton of kids, but like I can't see any like I can't see any of them being like, I'm gonna jump into a Fall Out Boy chat room and pretend I'm 19.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I don't think that happens anymore, and like I'm really happy for them.
But I think the leftover residue of that era, and there were some movies that came out during that time. I don't know if you remember, there was one that was almost like a found footage thing of these two young girls that were having a chat with a dude, and they would always want to see him. He'd always say that his camera was broken, and eventually he ends up being like the serial killer, and he kills one of the kids, and it was a freaky it was a very uncomfortable watch. But there was a few movies like that
Mm-hmm.
where
Yeah.
little girls would get. It was always little girls in a chat room, like, oh, what's this? Oh, who's in here? And there were some stories in the MySpace days. Again, talking about 20 years ago almost,
Oh Lord.
of dudes and bands that were convincing very young girls to meet them after hours in weird places. There was some weird stuff that went on in that time. But moving beyond pedophilia. I should do this so I can know to cut a clip right there.
Yeah.
With its simplistic yet provocative dramatic storylines, how does true crime prevent us from having serious discussions around programs designed to help people reintegrate back into society? So kind of, maybe we should staying with pedophilia.
Yeah.
If the people watching this show, self-proclaimed leftists, so whatever ist you want to put on your name, that's fine. I don't care. But you probably have a vision of a prisonless, policeless world. But what happens when we see sex offenders? It's a real thing. They are real. As someone that's worked with a ton of them, they're a real thing. How does true crime affect the way we see recidivism programs, especially when you think of I think it's called Athlete A, about the doctor that molested hundreds, if not thousands.
Yeah, the Olympic doctor.
Yeah, the Olympic doctor that worked at So how do we still look at rehabilitation when we've made up our mind that certain people are monsters?
That's such a great point you bring up, because especially with sex crimes and people have to go on the sex offender registry, you are constantly seeing folks making content out of who lives close to me and what have they done, and just kind of have this fantasy that this person is going to hurt one of their children. And there's a lot of conversation, and I don't know that today's the day to have it about the sex offender registry and the publicity of that, because I think that's a very nuanced discussion.
It is.
But there is this idea of, if we want there to be bad people, and when they are bad people, and especially if we have something that oh hey, we can look up on Court Connect, or if you're in Missouri, CaseNet, it's really easy to get into this idea that somebody is just base level bad, and that that's just very rarely the case. I mean, I do believe there are people that are just straight up fucking evil, and the person that's working towards being an abolitionist in me, I'm not going to pretend that I'm perfect on that journey, or that I don't struggle with I've threatened to send people to jail all the time for nothing. But I love to threaten to send people to jail. It's my favorite thing in the world. But it is that idea of how do we get rid of that prosecuting attorney in our head? How do we get rid of that jail warden in our head? And I just think it comes down to this. I think, especially, I feel since the days of especially Bill Clinton's crime bill, or back in Reagan, the war on drugs, of we just need there to be bad people in our society, and and if these people are criminals, they need to go away forever. And it doesn't matter about what their material conditions that led them to crime. None of that. There's no room for that. It's just you're either good or you're bad, and if you're bad, you belong in prison. And if it feels if we are always going to come across it with that, with that line of thinking, we're never going to get to the point where we think, okay, hey, this person did something bad, but they have served their punishment, or whatever. And now we're going to reintegrate them back into society. And if we're going to reintegrate them back into society, we have to treat them like an actual person. And I don't think that a lot of criminals, especially felons, are treated like people, because in the state of Arkansas, like if you're a felon, that you can immediately be denied housing. And it's like, that's insane.
Especially if you're a sex offender too. Like we
Mhm.
have to admit, you know, if you're a sex
Yeah.
offender, you're in a whole nother realm of restrictions from where you can live,
Mhm.
jobs you can have.
And it's like, how do we expect people that I've never understood how we expect people, after we treat them subhuman for however long they are in prison. We treat them like they are literally not human beings. They are states owned by the government at that point, more so than the rest of us. Um, and when they get out, we're like, okay, well, you don't qualify for any federal assistance, for housing, for food. Like, good luck getting a job that pays anything. Good luck finding a place that you can afford to afford to rent on the salary you're going to get from places that will likely hire you. And it's just like, how do we not see like these high rates of recidivism coming when we do nothing to set these folks up for success? And that feels like a huge failure on our part. And I do think that the true crime content plays a lot into that, because it's like, why would you be concerned with murderers or anything when you are constantly seeing just like, oh, these people are bad, they're bad, they're bad, they're bad, you should be afraid for them, you should be afraid for yourself. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
well, I'm not gonna worry about these people, I gotta worry about me and make sure like my Ring doorbell doesn't run out of batteries, you know?
They're stealing my Amazon packages.
Yeah, like,
I would be
oh, a
mad if
wasp
somebody,
flew by my door. Like,
I would be mad if somebody stole my Amazon packages. I'm
if
not
somebody stole my Amazon package, I'd be like, that's weird, it's cat food. I'll just
I think, but
it's
that's kind of my point too about the whole like this the crime wave is growing. Here you have a man posing as an Amazon delivery guy.
yeah. If you need to steal the weighted sleep mask that I got off Amazon so badly, it was $13. I'll just order another one. I don't need a doorbell to tell me about this. My phone annoys me enough. I get notifications. They're like, "Oh, this bill's due," or like, "Oh, this person's doing better than me," or whatever. I don't need to look on my phone and see that Larry down the road stole my weighted sleep mask. Like, I'll just get another one. I just, it's just like, it's like the ocean. What happens outside of my door when I'm not out there is literally none of my business.
Even so, you don't care if they're stealing your cat food.
Listen, if they steal the cat food, they're gonna have to deal with Margot, and that bitch is a lot meaner than me. Margot is my cat. She's sitting right next to me. So you guys,
Again,
she's
but
mean as hell.
the ring camera, and again the footage that you see, like now people having all this ring camera footage, like someone like running to the door, or this home invasion robbery was caught on a ring cam.
And it's just like the Mormon missionaries like coming up.
I think a lot of this look,
It's staged.
I was gonna say that I think a lot of stuff we see on the TikToks and the Instagram stories and stuff like that, not all of it, but I think a lot of it is staged. And this is where this kind of influencer moment that we're in, where everything is for content, and we're just absorbing content constantly, because the idea of owning something tangibly and going through your DVD collection to watch a movie, or your VHS collection to watch a movie, is just so passé. Like, I want to choose
going
between
through their VHS collection.
some like king hipster, the same guy that's
Jason
trying
Miles.
to fuck that guy does not live here. F that dude. I'm not him. Sorry. Vinyl is the preferred way to listen to this song. No, it's not. CD sounds just great. You don't hear all the snap, crackles, and pops. What the hell's wrong with you? Think you're better than me because you got some stupid Crosley record player? That's the guy that's trying to impress you.
Yeah.
Would you like to listen to OK Computer on vinyl?
If anybody wants to listen to Taylor Swift's Evermore on vinyl, swing by my house tonight. I'm also going to watch the Kardashians after, so it's going to be a party. I will find any way to work Taylor Swift into an interview anyway.
Hey.
She needs the publicity. She's a struggling indie artist.
Yeah, she's struggling. She's only getting $1,500 on Spotify, yet $200 million to show up and not have you touch her for a $30,000 meet and greet.
She actually doesn't sell meet and greets. She never has. They've always been. I will defend
the all-inclusive ticket. She's like Sandals Resort.
No. She picks literally used to. She doesn't do meet and greets now because of COVID or maybe she doesn't want to see people, which is cool. But she would always pick fans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was a special to get a Taylor Swift meet and greet.
Sure.
I'm positive. I've literally never been more positive about anything in my life.
Are you sure? We could have went on a whole other champagne room tangent on that.
I'd have made you fall out of your chair again.
I would have totally fell out of the chair. Okay. But seriously, we're consuming so much content for content's sake in just scrolling.
It's it's like a pacifier almost.
Yes. Ooh.
The other night, I was just feeling anxious, just generally. If you guys have seen the state of the world, it's not great. But the other night, I was literally just scrolling through TikTok, and I wouldn't even watch a video all the way, but it was just the idea. I would just flip and not have to think about anything. It just it's like a mental pacifier of just my brain can't really focus on anything right now. And I do think if you end up again in that true crime thing, it could be very easy to be I don't want to think about my shitty life. Yes. I want to hear about somebody else's life that is so much shittier than mine because they're literally dead right now. It could just be okay, hey, my bad day at work wasn't so bad. I did not get stabbed to death by a man that lived in my home and told me he loved me.
I was watching.
That's why I'll never have a man live in my house.
I was watching true crime a month ago, 2 months ago, and it was that one the worst roommate ever. On Netflix.
I did not give them permission to film that about me, but
it's just you walking around fucking crop dust in the fucking common spaces.
Yeah.
Not picking up the cat poo.
Oh, I would get in trouble if I didn't do that.
But the I think it's the first episode on that is an older woman that was killing tenants. She had kind of a halfway house for the elderly.
Was this in California?
It was in Sacramento.
Yes, I remember. I read an article about this. Sorry.
Dorothea Puente. Yeah.
Yes.
No, yeah.
And she was stealing people's social security checks and cashing them and burying them in the backyard. People hate to see a girl boss winning.
Girl, that's how all that girl you could literally tag girl boss on that. If you switch that just a little bit, you get the plot to that movie We Care a Lot.
You do.
Right? Just you make her hot and ambitious, and all of a sudden it's not and that's the problem with this stuff too. Well, first of all, I think this is funny. So that episode physically frightened me for no good reason. It was a lot of the places that I think the place she was at was downtown Sacramento. I've been to downtown Sacramento a gajillion times. I don't know if that's what freaked me out, but the whole thing was just freaking me out.
Do you think maybe you're afraid? And listen, I'm not passing any judgment because I'll admit something about me before I say something about you to make it look less mean. I think I could be talking to joining a cult, and I genuinely think I'm not strong enough to not do it. I'm lucky that I have friends that will check in on me and make sure I'm not getting into Scientology or something. But do you think maybe because so sometimes when I see cult documentaries, I can't watch them because I'd be I mean, listen, I don't love how he handled it, but did David Koresh have a point? Do you think maybe you're afraid that you could be at a bar in San Francisco, or excuse me, in Sacramento,
Uh-huh.
and like just some like kind of hot woman,
Yes.
kind of hot woman.
Oh
She's like,
yeah. Oh
hey,
yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
a room for rent,
Yeah.
and you know what? While you're at it, you could stay with me. I'm gonna cook for you.
Yep.
I'll take over your finances. You don't even have to worry about it. Your bills are gonna be paid.
She
You
wouldn't have
have
to say any of that. She would just have to say, "I got a room," and then that would be done. I wouldn't. All I'd hear is
and
wonk,
then
wonk,
it's
wonk,
like,
wonk, wonk after that.
wasn't it in kind of like, and I might be making this up just for dramatics, but wasn't it in like kind of like a historic, like kind of nice house?
There was just downtown. No,
Okay,
downtown is not that nice.
okay,
But
but
it
still,
was
you
just
know,
downtown Sacramento. Yeah, those were nice Victorians. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But
you're
no,
walking.
the
You're
area, a lot of the people she had were like older, unhoused people that didn't really have a lot of family.
mhm,
But I end up meeting someone
mhm.
that was their cellmate.
I love gossip. I love hearing things I shouldn't hear.
And I was like, and it made her more real to me. Because sometimes when you watch true crime stuff, the people are dead. You know, like
Mhm.
the people perpetrating these things are dead. But that lady was, I think she's still alive. But yeah, she was, and then she was like, yeah, she cooked. She ended up being the cook. I was like, you shit me?
I would
Sorry.
probably fall for that. Honestly, actually, I don't like living with. I like living alone, but
I mean,
but
she didn't have a choice.
yeah,
The state mandated that one.
yeah.
But
Damn.
I was like, and I was like, did you talk? She's like, that one was kind of nice, but just a little loopy.
She's
But
trying to
if
get
you
access to money on her books. I see the game.
If you listen to her story,
Hmm.
you know, she was turned out prostituting from a very
Oh
young
yeah.
age. And I think she just didn't care. You know, God knows what happened to her before she even turned 21. I think she actually served some time on some pandering charges as like a
Hmm.
20-year-old pimp.
Damn.
Yeah. She lived a rough life. And I think she probably thought she found a nice, quiet way to make some money.
I mean, damn. That's wild that somebody was her cellmate. We got to talk more about this. We'll take that offline. But I got to know more.
I've met some people. In my life. Um, before we open the phone lines, I want to ask this question. More money is stolen by tax evaders and employers that steal from employees, yet they don't get the same portrayal in the true crime genre. Do you see the Wolf of Wall Street in the same light that you see, you know, like the Colleen Stan story, for example? And if you don't know who that is, that's the woman that was kept in a box under the bed of her captor and his wife for 6 years.
Yeah, I think I think you have to come to it with the idea that like literally everybody who's a billionaire is guilty of stealing from people.
Mhm.
And so yeah, it's really easy. Like you see like, well, I assume people see it. I blocked Elon Musk and muted his name on Twitter forever because it's just something about his face deeply it it makes me angry and it also scares me.
Mhm.
Um but you see like you only see praise for like mostly for these people. Like you have like these legions of people who are like, "Oh my god, these billionaires, like not only am I closer to being a billionaire than I am to being homeless,
Mhm.
um just like this reverence for him." And even like the Wolf of Wall Street's a really great example. Like, dude, that dude fucking sucked.
He's a horrible man.
Like really bad, but like
Mhm.
yeah, even sometimes I'm watching like that big, you know, that oh we ain't fucking going anywhere. I'm
Mhm.
like, hell yeah, Leo, let's go, baby. Bring Gigi Hadid, let's hang. Like, and like even if I'm like, oh damn, this dude was cool. Like he was just like on coke and like on airplanes and on boats and like, damn, that sounds like a fun fucking weekend. Like, and, and then yeah, you see like the coverage for the calling Stan thing, but then also
Mhm.
you just like you see just like coverage of like kids who are like stealing cars and they're like
Yeah.
the deep evil lives in Springdale, Arkansas. And it's just like some kid named TJ who stole like a 2012 Toyota Camry. And it's just like who we in this country choose to villainize and be afraid of versus like what we should like. If you are like me and you work like a corporate job, you're being exploited, you're being stolen from. No matter how great the open door policy is, no matter how great like the break room snacks are or anything, like you're being exploited where you're at. And it's like, how is it like how are you not, I guess, just and I include myself in that. How am I not more concerned about that than what I am, the weirdos down the street are doing?
I find it kind of fascinating that when we think about the Wolf of Wall Street, we don't look at that as true crime.
We don't. I
It's
don't.
not looked at in the same way. It's looked at, to me, almost uh like inspirational for a lot of
Mhm.
people. Because you look at him as like, well, he's just slightly flawed.
Yeah.
Had he not been so greedy, he could have taken that money and then he could have retired. And it's like, no one does that. No one does that.
Mm-mm.
Stop it. But when you look at, like kidnaps, murders, it sits in a different place for people. It's not
Mhm.
aspirational.
No.
Even drug movies we don't look at as true crime.
No, and that's a really I have never actually thought about that until you just said that. That's a
Mhm.
really good thing because, like, I mean, I've watched Narcos. Um, Damn, what a great show. But then even just you think about even just like the true life examples of that, like I don't view that as true crime. And I think sometimes like the organized crime stuff in general, which a lot of the
Mhm.
drug kind of tends to go into, is that uh, I I think the idea, and somebody actually just said a really great thing in the comments about like how money is power.
Mhm.
Um, I think once you get money involved in it, it becomes more aspirational because like
Yeah.
nobody has like a poster of like Ted Bundy on their wall being like, "Damn." But how many Scarface posters have you seen on people's bedroom walls or all these things? Like it's aspirational. Like people want that power. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think I told you that here I'll say this on air. I think it's funny. Um, Before a very nice woman made this collage of posters behind me, there was just a white wall. And when we did a thing for the real news, they were like, "Can you change? You need to have something behind you that isn't the white wall."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Well, I don't have anything." They were like, "Well, go. You live in Mexico. Go get some art." And I was like, "The only art I can get here is either the picture of El Chapo by himself
Mhm.
and a bunch of cocaine, or the one of El Chapo, Pablo Escobar, and Al Pacino as Scarface with cocaine and money at a table like the Last Supper."
Okay, number 1, I don't understand why you didn't buy that one.
I was like, I don't think you guys want me to have this on air.
I'm I'm so angry that you have not told me about this sooner. I'm very angry that you don't own it, and I'm also very angry that I don't own it. I'm
I,
literally looking like I'm in my living room and I'm looking forward to a gallery wall. I have a place for it. I don't even know how big it is. I have a place for
they're
it.
big. They're big. They're like, just get a big picture. And I was like, I could get like a blanket of Frida Kahlo, but if you want a picture, it's only of drugs. It's only of drugs. They're like, no, you're over exaggerating. I was like, maybe I am, but you can come here if you like, because this is not Mexico City. I don't know what kind of Diego Rivera revival you think is going on down here, but there's no tourists that are down here. It's like, do you guys have any like more modernist art? No.
We
Where's the
have real
cocaine
art here.
pictures? Yeah.
No interpretation needed.
Someone
I hate it
says
when I gotta
Mexico.
think too much about art.
Someone says Mexico sounds mad ghetto. I need to go immediately. That's the funny. Again, it's not. I haven't been in anyone's house where they have a picture of Chapo
Mhm.
or cocaine, or like at a fountain of it, like angels and shit. Like I've never seen that. But tourists come here, and I don't know why they come here of all places, and they go, "Can you give us the picture of an actor and two real drug dealers, please?" That's what kills me. The actor in the middle
Mhm.
of the two real drug dealers.
I love that if it is like a Last Supper thing, that does mean that he is Jesus, and I'm okay with that. I've thought about it for a few seconds, and I'm good with it.
It's
And that would mean that they are his disciples.
it
And I
play
think that's
it plays into a narrative that people have about, and I don't want to talk too good about where I live because I just don't want you guys coming down here raising my rent. But seriously, it does kind of speak to narratives people have about certain areas. Like,
Mhm.
I would you go to New Orleans and people want to see a certain kind of art because I have some friends that are artists down there, and they would have to do like kind of New Orleans folk art if they wanted to make money.
Yeah.
And they hated doing that sometimes. Like, oh, I got to paint a picture of some fucking black guy playing the saxophone. That's what these white people want. Um, and it's sad that that's the same thing down here. Like like all the
Yeah.
great art that's come out of this country. Can you give me
Truly.
something with cocaine on it,
Yeah.
please? Someone says tourists like to romanticize organized crime. That is so true. There's a
Mhm.
there's a organized crime. There's a mafia museum in Las Vegas.
My best friend Elaine, her mom got married at the Gangster Museum in Hot Springs, Arkansas. That's literally what it's called, the Gangster Museum.
And what's in it?
Huh?
What's in it?
Oh, because all of like the big organized crime guys used to come down to Hot Springs, like
Oh, I
back in
have
the
like
day.
speakeasies and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And so they have just like a bunch of like they have some like stuff from Al Capone. It's just, I mean, it's like it's a tourist trap is what it is. But yeah, she got married there. And I will with you, Jason. Sorry, crowd, but I don't know you that well. I will share some of the pictures with you.
I need you to
It's
be
literally,
entertaining.
and they were all in flapper apparel. It was beautiful.
I need you to be entertaining while I set up the phone lines.
Okay. So I'm actually not going to talk about Dune this time because I'm trying to be less annoying. But I did just finish Dune Messiah. But if you want to talk about that, we'll talk about it later. So somebody asked in the chat earlier if I'm from Fayetteville, Arkansas. I am from Fayetteville. I'm from Arkansas. I'm an Ozarks native, and I will tell you my Ozarks bona fides. This is how you know that I am that I'm from Arkansas. Like this is me. I'm not lying. I don't know who would lie about being from Arkansas. When I was 8 years old, I watched my cousin who his name is Delta. I watched him catch a bobcat, not fully grown, but not quite a kitten, with his bare hands and wrestle it into a cage out of the woods at a family barbecue. Delta also one time fell off of a roof and walked away like nothing had happened. It was considered a miracle in our family. My other Ozarks bona fides is that when I was probably the same age, maybe 8 to 10, kind of in that area, we used to go on camping trips out at the Buffalo National River, just kind of the area of the Ozarks that I grew up in. And we were going to have a fish fry that night. And I have an uncle who has two first names and no middle name, and that's not a joke. He instead of using like a fishing pole and like a lure or whatever, he threw in a small amount of dynamite into the river, which stunned the fish and rose them to the top. And he was arrested after this because a park ranger caught him. So I'm from a very, very Arkansas family. My dad one time almost um lost a finger trying to light a fire with gasoline that he was burning our trash in. Um, somebody said Taylor's seen some shit, and I don't really know that I have. What I have seen is one time I burned off all of my eyebrows trying to light a grill when I was 17, and the grill was made out of a sawed in half metal barrel that my dad had gotten from a scrap shop as a good deal. Um, uh, so anyone else had a relative pull a tooth using dental floss string around the tooth in a dresser drawer, you might be section 8. We'd never used dental floss, but one time my brother tied a string to my tooth and pulled it out with his bike. Um, I don't really know where my parents were at during that. My brother's like 10 years older than me. How about grandpa pulling teeth with pliers after dinner?
Did you say your
That
brother
didn't happen
pulled your
in my
tooth out
family.
with his bike?
I mean, like a pedal bike. Yeah, like we
Well,
just
yeah,
got
I
a
didn't think
long.
he did it with his motorcycle.
Well, he also had a motorcycle that he wrecked and broke both of his arms on. I'm just airing out all the family drama today.
I didn't know we were
But no,
going to. So now we have a segment here on TIR called Redneck Tales with Taylor Hearn.
Yeah, I'll pop in. I'll pop in every now and then. I've got some good ones.
We did. That's a new champagne room thing. So if we can get you up late on a weeknight, we have to do Redneck Tales with Taylor.
I bet I could find some time for you, Jason. I bet I could pencil you in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is why I appreciate you. So the phone lines are open. 626-873-8658 is the number. Call us. I want to hear what you guys have to say about true crime. Do you guys have a true crime addiction yourselves? If so, what was the gateway drug for you? Was it Law and Order SVU? I have, still to this day, and I haven't watched an episode of Law and Order in some time because I moved, a huge crush on Mariska Hargitay.
We talked about this last time too. I almost sent you an Instagram reel of like a fan cam of her the other day.
She's a Taylor Swift fan.
She is. She was at the Eras tour in New York. She got to hear Getaway Car. So I'm no longer a Mariska stan.
I mean, I am a legit, Law and Order SVU is the best true crime show filled with inaccuracies of how the legal system functions.
Yeah. Truly.
Like, please don't watch that show and think that you're going to ask for a lawyer and one's just going to show up.
No. But also, don't get fooled. Even if you have a hot detective, don't talk to him without a lawyer.
I would see that. Remember, you're talking about how dumb I am? I would totally tell her everything.
I mean, listen, for someone as hot as her, I think it's forgivable.
That's if cops don't want people talking about defund the police, just more Mariska Hargitay looking cops.
Yeah. I'll get a thin blue line license plate, which is an option in Arkansas. You can get a thin blue line personalized license plate. Yeah, not to rear end those people. They will shoot you.
What's funny? I would get one just to not get fucked with. Like, it seems like a strategic move. I would never get that. All right, keep getting fucked with. I'm driving by waving at your ass.
As you're getting pulled over.
Scotty?
I've got expired tags.
Yeah.
And a blunt hanging out of my mouth. Hey, get pulled over.
Bumper sticker working out for you there. I got thin blue line Punisher shit all over my car. Going 150 in a Hyundai.
You can see air under those tires. They ain't pulling your ass over.
I got a Klan hood on. I'm just everything you could possibly have. A picture of me punching another black guy. whatever you need to see to not pull me over. Like, okay, again, like touring.
Mhm.
I would see bands that would have like stickers and everything all over their van and
Mhm.
trailer that just looked like I am in a band with shit in my car. And they would always be the dudes who are like, oh, they stole our van. They stole our trailer. The cops keep messing with us. I was like,
I
do
wonder
you
why.
band? I don't know what to tell you. You see this fucking Chrysler town and country we're in? We can have 10 kilos of black tar heroin. That cop doesn't care.
No. He's like, y'all have fun.
Thin blue line sticker. He's one of us.
Yeah. They're on our side.
People got the game all wrong. But that kind of goes back to like an idea. This is kind of off topic of posturing and politics is just kind of branding and a lifestyle model. You know, if you're really serious, why would you tell everybody I'm the one to be okay? You got to get fucked with, dude.
Yeah. I'm praying for your journey, homie.
Yeah.
Could never be me.
I tell people all the time, I want everyone in this town to know that I am not a threat.
Yeah.
Someone says you got to be white too. So you think. I get out of the car dancing like Wayne Brady. It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. I don't. I'm totally kidding.
Okay, yeah, sure. I bet. Me either.
That would be funny. I have a bad... Who was on the phone with me when I got pulled over out here? Somebody was on the phone with me when I got pulled over.
Oh, shit.
And I have a horrible attitude towards law enforcement.
Well, yeah.
And this ain't the States.
No.
And they definitely let me know, hey, buddy, this ain't the States. Yes, bad lefty. I was singing Tom Jones. That's what you should sing if you get pulled over by the cops.
It's Tom. Okay, Tom Jones. I'm gonna.
Yeah. You turn all the hip hop down in your car and you just start blasting Tom Jones. Sorry, officer, something wrong? What seems to be the issue here? Was I speeding?
Never.
I lose it whenever Tom's on, you know.
I just put David Bowie on and just got a lead foot. I get it. Or Ted Nugent. That might actually be the best one. At least where I'm from.
I also really... I thought, dude...
I don't like Ted Nugent. I want that to be very clear. Not even his music. Like
that's a bridge too far. Like, I'd rather have my car than have to rock a fucking Ted Nugent shirt to not get fucked with by the cops. Like, these are your don't get fucked with by the cops outfits. Thin blue line.
I would rather people think I'm a sympathizer than I have shitty taste in music.
I never really got into Ted Nugent, and I guess I was supposed to because he's like this guitar god for people that are guitar gods. To me, they looked up to him. And every time I hear him talk, I'm just like, oh. Like, I was a little kid, not a little kid, but I was younger when I found out that he like adopted a kid, a young girl to like bang.
It's so wild to me about like in like the grand scheme of things that is not been that long ago, and people were just like so chill. They're like, yeah, of course. Congratulations, Ted, on adopting the child that you're having sex with. Oh, like they probably fucking made him a Jello mold or whatever the fuck they were doing back then.
Like, that's some creepy shit.
That's really creepy. But then, like, you go back and there's just like, I mean, fucking Elvis did it too. Like, he married
a lot of those guys.
Yeah, like he married. Oh, what's her name? I can't blank it on her name.
Priscilla.
Yeah, but she was like 14.
13. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, damn.
Jerry Lee Lewis married his 13-year-old cousin. I mean,
there's a lot of layers on that one.
There's a lot of those cats that were like totally cool with. Also, we didn't have statutory laws to the level we have now, but still, ugh.
Sucks. Yeah, that's why do we have to make those? Thought it was unspoken. It's like one of those rules you shouldn't have to make, you know? Like I'm glad we have it, but it's real fucked up that we were like, hey, yeah, like just so everybody knows, just so we're like all on the same page. It's a little meeting. You can't have sex with 13-year-olds. If you are a grown fucking man.
What seems fun about that? Well, let me shut up before I get up.
Yeah, we're gonna book it and put it on a list.
That's all I need now. We can't. The show's not monetized. There was a show they just told us that. We did a show called "Is the Left Losing the Culture War?" and YouTube said you cannot. We watched the show and you can't monetize it. So I'm definitely sure we've gone down. This can't be monetized. We made jokes about Ted Nugent, and there's someone at YouTube. It's like never.
No. I think we might have lost it when I implied that I might be pro book banning. So my bad.
No, that would have got us on a whole nother level. Like, oh man, I'm appearing in all these searches now.
Yeah. I want this to come up when people search me on LinkedIn.
For some reason, the comments keep saying I'm one of the good ones. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Should I be offended or just be happy that now all of a sudden you get an actual payout? Like I really wish people could see that once the show is done, one of the people that works on the show goes and then submits the request to have someone view it so we can monetize. Like as soon as it's done, because once it's up, they go automatically, nope. We're like, what did we say? You're mad at some dick jokes?
Damn. I thought this was a free country.
I thought this was a dick joke. Some of the stuff I watch on YouTube, I'm like, really? And you're mad at me?
Right?
Interesting. There's like people calling for violent insurrections. I'm sitting here going, I think we should maybe think twice about the way we look at propaganda.
No.
Yes.
No, but like it is so wild. Like we like Harvey and I have talked a lot about like how like YouTube was kind of one of the places that like right wingers, like real far right wingers, like QAnon people, like they kind of started like gathering. And also of the fact that like there was I cannot remember the name of the documentary, but I think it was on HBO, just about like QAnon and like J6 in general of
that was good about the whole riot thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was like this whole like arc of like people who were like making their like entire living and like making a good living on just like streaming on YouTube all day long of being like, the pedophiles are after you. They're after your kids.
Oh, dude, people would send me, because again, not a lot, but there was a good amount of people that came in the early days that came from the music side. And regardless of whatever I was saying politically, sometimes people you can't tell with the screams, right? It's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever he's saying, he sure is into it. I love that. And I would get sent like these super QE videos of like, everybody's a groomer. And this is 2019, 2020. And I was like, word? And I'm getting crap. And it's a new thing that happened to us once we got over a certain threshold of subscribers, that they would start banning the videos. And we were down for a little over a week because they said we violated cyberbullying standards by literally doing a show on kind of a history of where QAnon comes from, going all the way back to the satanic panic of the late 60s, early 70s. And I'm still kind of fascinated by like, really? Like that was of all the things we've said on the show, that was where the line was too far. Like we had a show where a woman was holding a large phallus on air. Like, but the bridge too far was like, I concur.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
They're all
someone says
hopped up
YouTube.
on, wasn't it
Yeah.
androgen? Isn't that what they call it? Or what are they all taking?
Adrenochrome?
Adrenochrome. That's all. I bet that's what it is. All the YouTube people are like, we can't put our supply at risk.
They're outing us.
Yeah.
But to this day, man, that still kind of bugs the shit out of me. Look,
Yeah.
guys, the phone lines are open. I never open up the phone lines on the free show.
You guys are embarrassing, Jason.
And I pay by the second. Taylor can't see it, and Toussaint's not here to get worried because she can actually see the money dwindling the account. There was one time we had to call it. It's a little more long-winded, and Toussaint was like, "I gotta cut him because she could see." It was like at 50 cents. She's like, "Okay, you need to wrap it up. We need to wrap it up."
If you call in, I will draw a King of the Hill tarot card for you. I'll draw one for you right now, Jason.
Let go of my purse. I don't know you.
If anybody wants to talk about King of the Hill, give me a call. 1 second. I'm going to put my mic down to shuffle these.
By the second, get to the point. Bad Lefty is very true. I try to be good about it, but it really does dwindle by the second. And I get worried.
Okay, I'm going to pull a card for you, Jason.
Okay.
What if it's like death?
I feel like, okay, that's fine.
Okay. So, this is the 10 of Wands. And as you can tell, the wands are spatulas, like in propane.
And propane accessories.
This is my favorite deck. It got copyrighted, so there's only like 100 of them that were ever made. And it's literally my prized possession. Somebody said King of Hill is the greatest slice of life anime of all time. I literally absolutely agree. It was a show that showed rural people in rural, like kind of like conservative for like George Bush conservative people in like a kind light of like, oh hey, this is just a family from Texas like doing their best, and yeah, they like George Bush, but like they're not like fucking war criminals. But then also quite literally, and I have like a whole fucking thesis on this, so somebody better call in and interrupt me, or I'm gonna just yell at you guys.
We actually have some phone calls.
Okay. There are episodes of King of the Hill I cannot believe they got on the air. There's one where Peggy does some foot porn.
The foot porn one was hilarious. Peggy drives to Mexico.
Oh my God.
That is me every time I leave my house. Every time I leave my house, I say the wrong thing to everyone. And
okay, listen, Jason always tries to get me to buy into this propaganda that he's very unpopular and can never find a date, and like nobody wants to talk to him. And I am here, I believe, along with the rest of the TIR viewers, of that we're not falling for it.
I got stood up yesterday.
Whatever, I don't believe it.
You know what? I wish Toussaint was here. She's busy right now. She was on the phone with me when I was like, you know what? I was like, I bet you I'm gonna get stood up.
I think because MT is not here. Listen, I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
She will vouch for me.
Okay.
She will vouch for me. I know she's busy right now. I would love for her to come in and
we are mutuals on Twitter. If she chooses to send me proof of that, I won't issue a retraction because I've actually never been wrong about anything. So I actually don't know how.
True story.
Yeah,
true story.
Actually.
True story. I don't. It's true story. Can't make the rules.
No.
I wish I was on social media more and I did like live streaming so you could see me just sitting alone at the cafe.
Oh my God, I can't. Okay, Ernest Hemingway, we get it.
You don't believe
He's
me?
gonna pour all his little emotions out onto the paper in this little sad cafe where he's drinking a little Americano.
I am. How did you know?
Because you are such a Leo, Jason. Oh my God.
What do you think I'm drinking right now?
Yeah.
I'm being so serious.
Yeah, I know. And so listen, don't even try this shit on me. Because I don't believe it.
You don't have MT says various things about me. So if you talk to her on social media, she'll tell you a more accurate picture than I will ever let on air anymore.
Yeah,
But she was there. She was there for the standing up. She was there for that.
I will say one more thing here. Timothy Connerson says that you should tell women that you make music. Maybe I don't know that I would start with that. I wouldn't start with you're a podcaster either, but we'll figure it out.
Ben always used to laugh at me. Ben goes, I can't believe you fucking told me this.
I only admit I'm a former podcaster under duress.
But you have like a proper job.
Yeah, I do.
Like, this is it for me. This is it. So people ask, what do you do? What is all this stuff in your room? I'm like, well, it's who I am, baby.
Somebody says you're lonely with the unbuttoned shirt.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair,
awesome.
I did come on your podcast and then encourage you to unbutton your shirt, but that's just the energy that I bring to most endeavors.
My goal is to be in shape, so when I do go on this like promotional tour for this thing, I can like walk around shirtless.
Oh, okay. I mean, you can do that now, but
I can, but I won't have the same confidence.
Okay.
I'll be like a goth girl at her first Marilyn Manson show, like.
I think a lot of girls are uncomfortable at Marilyn Manson shows, but it's not because of their body confidence.
Well, let's take some calls because there's some people
please.
waiting on the phone line going like, how long do I have to wait for these guys to quit telling dick jokes?
Forever.
All right. Caller, what is your name and where are you calling from?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm calling again from Worcester, Massachusetts. I think you know what I'm going to ask. Will you, preferably with Varn, do a show on leftist genre music like crust, power violence, grindcore?
I love that you call it leftist genre music. I've been in some spaces with some of those cats and I didn't feel very like I was in the left space.
Well, like the deal was, as far as punk goes, we get crust and the right wing gets oi. And as far as metal goes, like they get black metal, we get grunge. Like that, those were the deals made. And I know you're from the Bay Area.
I am.
I would love it if you could get some like the guys from Crossed Out or No Comment or any of the Slap-a-Ham guys. I also know that in my neck of the woods, guys in Drop Dead are still active. I just think it would be great with you guys on there. I really I tortured myself and listened to the new metal show. It made me so angry. I know you have better taste in it.
Look, I'm not going to early on. I will say this: early on, we had Scotty, the owner of Scotty. What is Scotty's last name? Heath, the owner of Tank Crimes Records. So if you're familiar with bands like Ghoul and Municipal Waste, which I know is a little different than what you're talking about, Dystopia was on Tank
anything
Crimes.
with But yeah, I'm more hungry for the bridging, like your music stuff with the political stuff, and I figured a good bridge would be concentrating on bands that are more, I don't know, obviously like, Ausrotten or Groundwork, or, bands where they wear their politics on their sleeves. They're a little less known, but you were probably aware of them. If there was any impact on any scene, like did anything come of C-Squat, or like, I just think it would be a great topic that you would get, 2 or 3 interested viewers from.
2 or 3. I love the honesty and the 2 or 3 interested viewers. When I started this show, I wanted to do more stuff like that, and then it just kind of went in a different direction. And I like doing the music shows personally, and I want to do more music stuff. Ben Burgess and I do have something planned to actually have like live music on air. That guy wears
like Rolling Floyd shirts.
He does, but he's also had to ride in a car. Look, brother. He's also had to ride in a car with me when he lived out here in Mexico, like every day. So, as Derek Varn will tell you, and as Jordan Dubin will tell you, you ride in the car with Jason Miles, you will listen to some very uncomfortably loud music, and I'm rocking the fuck out till we get to our destination. Hardcore.
How much Taylor Swift is on there?
No Taylor Swift is on the mix, by the way.
I'll send you.
You might get some George Michael in there, depending on how long the drive is. But if it's like a quick shot, like a 2-hour shot, oh man, it's about to get brutal. I had to look at people like, hey, just put some headphones on if you need to. I gotta go. And no, Ben is not singing with Jason on guitar. We're not doing. Maybe I should rephrase that. But we're working on doing some stuff where we can actually have like live performances. And of course, if you know me and watch this show, you can only imagine the wide range of music that we're going to have on. And Ben actually, he does wear Pink Floyd shirts, but he has an affinity now for the crazier stuff a little bit, not too crazy. But I am working on doing something. I don't know if I would go strictly and say grind, but I'm trying to get a noise show and kind of industrial show with a friend of mine, Justin Broderick, but that's been hard to nail him down.
Are you talking about a topic for a podcast show or booking a concert?
Oh, just a topic for a podcast show. I'm not booking any more concerts.
Oh, okay. No, I was going to say.
But we're going to do something where like live. We're going to have a show. We're working on doing something that's a little more like live-ish, and it won't be streamed, but we're going to have music in it, like live music in it.
All right. I was going to say, on the other side of the coin, if you want to do a show about problematic figures like Varg and Absurd, that would be interesting as well.
I was on a show, 99 zu 1, which is a German podcast, a German political podcast. They do some shows in English. Most of their crossover shows are with people in this kind of TIR universe. Varn, I think they did a crossover with the Left Reckoning guys. They've definitely done tons with us. And we did a show where we talked about metal. And since they're all in Germany, their outlook on metal is way different, and the stuff they get is way different than, what I deal with here in the States. And plus, I never got into that whole, no pun intended, black metal scene. And for the person asking, Justin Broderick of Godflesh, yes, there should be a tour laminate behind me from when I toured with Godflesh. So yeah, Justin Broderick of Godflesh. I'm gonna try to see them in San Diego, if someone's asking. But I'm trying to do that, so cross your fingers. We can get you the show that you're looking for. Cross your fingers.
I will. I just don't know how many super chats it's going to take.
These music shows are harder to get done than you think, man. They're harder to get done than you think, especially now that White Guy Wednesday is taking over. I've been cooed.
Oh,
I've been cooed.
Jason's also very busy writing fake dating stories at the cafe with his Americano. So listen, caller, I'm praying for you. I hope that you get this show. I've literally never heard of a single one of these bands, but I'm praying for you. I really hope this happens. I think Jason would have fun doing it if he could. Yeah, if he could just get his sad ass out of the cafe.
Yeah, check out Panoptic because he does black metal and bluegrass from like an ANCOM perspective.
Okay. Interesting.
If anybody wants a good Southern,
so just send me that stuff. My DM should be open on Twitter. Just send it to me. I know the show DMs are open on Twitter, so yeah, just send it to the show. Any music suggestions you have, please send it to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Oh, take it easy, brother. And you got to stop. I'm not writing sad guy stuff. I'm just writing my column.
It's been 108 days since I felt the touch of another.
How many lonely nights can I spend with the ocean putting me to sleep and not your touch?
The only touch I know is of the sand. That could also be a Dune thing, but somebody also did mention or All of You Fascists by Billy Bragg and Wilco. Wilco is one of my favorite bands. I highly recommend that. And if anybody's looking for a good leftist Southern rock band, which I know that sounds all very contradictory, Lee Baines and the Glory Fires are incredible. They're also very sweet boys. I highly recommend them. They've got some really good.
Doesn't the singer Norma Jean live in your hood?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
He's from Fayetteville.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah.
We're hanging out.
I think all those people look alike, and you wouldn't know them unless you were in a Hot Topic in 2005.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah. No. No, man, he might. Who knows, though?
He's probably the dude that has the cool tattoos at the coffee shop. You're like, that guy's got cool tattoos. What if he's the lead singer, Norma Jean?
Every person with a cool tattoo, I'm just going to go up to her. Are you the lead singer of Norma Jean?
Yeah. Dude, you the lead singer of Norma Jean?
And they're like, no.
Who has, because, there's a lot of shitty tattoos in this world.
We seem to be at an epicenter of them.
Crooked ass tattoos. Okay. I need you to talk to this man right now, Taylor, because this man is from the South. Further south than you. He's from so far south, I think he'd call you a Yankee. Straw McCallum.
Hi.
I saw a comment of Strom's, and I don't remember what it was, but I remember thinking it was really interesting, and I wanted to answer it. So I am excited about this.
I asked if y'all had covered the Murdoch case because something in the title it said true crime.
That's exactly the comment that it was. I will be very honest in that I have not followed that a lot because, and this is going to make me sound like a weenie, but it is just so unbelievably sad. And just like the whole family, like they're all shitheads, but they're all dead. And then like, it just was so sad to me. And then just to see like all the fallout that came from it. And I'm not like a Murdoch apologist by any means, but then and then it's just hard to keep a straight face when they're talking about some kid named Buster on the stand. It's like,
Strom went to the trial.
Oh my God, that's
Strom went to the trial.
Okay. What was that like? I am really interested to hear about that because
so that kind of creeped me out in a funny way.
Wait, say that again. You broke up, Strom.
Dick Harpootlian stayed at me for 20 seconds, so that was comical to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, that's actually a case that leftists can be interested in because it highlights how the Democratic Party in this state exists to, protect the existence set of class relations, just like the state GOP does. Alec was one of the top party contributors and fundraisers. Dick Hooputlian is a friend of Biden. His wife is ambassador to Slovenia. He is one of the top men in the General Assembly. And Jim Griffin is a prominent Democratic operator too. And then I could go on and on. It highlights public corruption and all that stuff. So actually a true crime case that leftists can have some investment in.
I think, but do you agree though, Strom, and everybody watching, do you guys agree that to some degree you can watch this stuff and you can sit back and ask yourself questions? Okay, is this propaganda a little bit here? Are they obfuscating some police corruption here? Is this maybe playing into certain narratives? But I didn't know about that case until you started talking about it. You talked about it for like 2 weeks in a row, and I finally watched one of the series on it, and I found it fascinating. Because you know what it reminded me of? Because where Taylor's from, the Walton family is nearby. And when I first went to Fayetteville is when I started hearing stories about how crazy the Walton family is, how the wife killed people in drunk driving accidents.
Miss Alice, our art aficionado, it's like a joke up here about how many DUIs she's had and how many people she has hurt driving drunk.
She's killed people, right? Multiple people. Yeah. Yeah, it reminded me of that, where if it wasn't for the story, I would have never known about what Strom is talking about. Because you knew about this in South Carolina, right, Strom? This is where most of this is taking place.
Yeah, my ex, the love of my life, I'll just say that because I sent you a song I wrote about recently. Her grandmother was actually in Randolph Modock's office. Okay. One of the top people in that office, and they are from that region. And I've known about these people for a really long time, but I think it actually, I hate true crime in general, but this actually involves politics and public corruption. I mean, another detail I forgot to add, Hooputlian, two-time state Democratic Party chairman, Jamie Harrison, who's now the federal DNC chairman, succeeded him. And in South Carolina, we have a regime of lawyer and legislative privilege. So if the General Assembly is in session, a legislator that represents a defendant can have a trial stayed indefinitely. And the state senators elect the judges. So, all of this, I'd look up that. I'd look up the Bowen Turner case. I would look at lots of stuff, but just remember to look at it from a leftist perspective and not sympathize with the prosecution and the cops. That's what I would say about that. But I think this kind of case, if it's taught properly, can radicalize people, especially in small towns, and just highlight how the South Carolina Democratic Party is basically a federal patronage gang through Jim Clyburn, and then basically a gang of rural corruption. That is what it is. And another point I had to make, nobody between the Delaware and the Rio Grande is a Yankee.
Okay. Okay.
I had a lot of people don't know this, but there's a really strong connection between South Carolina and Maryland. And my grandmother's family moved to Baltimore for a time in the 40s. And that's where she met my grandfather, who's a native of Maryland. And black and white, if you talk to South Carolinians, a huge amount of us have that family connection. Moved back down in the 60s, but it's very common. And let's just face it, what is the South historically determined by? whether chattel slavery was present in a state, whether it was a significant institution. Maryland, Missouri, Delaware, Kentucky, on and on and on. So to say that these places are not part of the South, I mean, it's binary. There's variation within the South, but it's defined by that Atlantic Creole economy.
Got it.
I mean, it's usable to that. So saying this is more Southern or less or what have you, I mean, no. And then people like fail to realize this, but like, if you look at places like Virginia and Maryland, you had counties that were like 60% slaves. So people don't, I mean, it's just like the pop culture narrative we've developed around this. I mean, our conception of the South and all of this is all messed up. We have to be historical materialists. This is economic history. And what are these mountain regions? These are regions, you see analogs to this in the Caribbean, where you have like the rednecks of Barbados, the equivalent of the landless, propertyless, part of the expression white trash who go on to the marginal land. And that's what we would call hillbillies or mountain crackers or what have you. I mean, it's this, people are going to think I'm a nut, some people who are not that well versed in this history, but like, we are kind of a West Indian nation, the South, historically. And that's just how I look at it, and look at it as somebody who's an economic determinist. You know, in Missouri, the main plantation region is going to be along the Mississippi River, then along the Missouri River. So people don't realize that historically in Missouri, the pro-Confederate, ultra-reactionary slaveholding region of the state is the north central region of the state, where Columbia is now, and to the west and east of that, all the way to St. Louis. So, I mean, that was the really strong pro-Confederate region of the state. People just don't think about things like this, and it's not the pop culture narrative. The further south you go, the more stereotypically Southern it gets. I mean, like, no, not really.
Well, look, Strom, thank you for the call.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
Also,
yes.
Also, I got to say one last thing.
Yes.
I will proudly proclaim that I will never get into what you call the crazy stuff. But I do have to say this. If you want to do anything like with leftist music, you know who to contact. Play some leftist Baroque country music.
That's fair. That's fair. We do it all. We do it all here.
All right, man.
Hey, have a good one, Strom.
Thanks, Strom.
You too.
And that's Strom McCown. Give him another round of applause. He's been around for a long time. And let's be honest here. I judge the South by if there's grits on the menu. If there's grits on the menu, I'm in the South. That's how.
Good morning, people, or afternoon.
We're being joined by Mean Gene Bajlan, who has a new camera set up. Or he just
it's not a new camera. I just put my camera on a bunch of books.
You flipped it around.
You should do your impression of him to him.
My impression of Jason.
No, Jason.
No, I did my impression of you.
And I literally thought you were in the room with me. It was unbelievable.
That's a scary thought.
It just sounds like Robin Leach.
Come on, do it. Come on, do it.
When I was like, oh, I'm gonna do a true crime show, and you're like, you should get Taylor. Get Taylor and Harvey.
Why do I sound like a Rhodesian officer? Right, my dear friend, you should get that Taylor and Harvey on the show, and we'll talk about the true crime in Rhodesia. I mean Zimbabwe. We have a lot of problems with the crime. There's a demographic that since 1980 have been causing a lot of problems in the country. So that's
Land back.
Land back.
See, now I sound like an island dude. Now I sound like the 7-Up guy all of a sudden.
We should totally start the whole thing where we do the land back, but it's like Rhodesian land back. It's like, or we do we do the thing where we do the Confederacy was progressive because whatever problems they had, they were anti-capitalist and they fought the American imperialists. So long live the Communist Confederacy.
Is that why that flag was there?
Yeah, that's why that flag's been there for ages, because it's been the ongoing joke of White Guy Wednesday that we're trying to promote Marxist Leninist Calhounism, so like the Confederacy was misunderstood. It was an anti-imperialist project.
What do I sound like? A Rhodesian?
Yeah, exactly.
A Rhodesian farmer that's about to get beheaded.
It's like, we'll do the Rhodesia land back. It's like, I'll tell you, my ancestors were there since 1895, and I want my land back. I want my land back. Well, you know what the original land back is? It's Israel. Israel is the original land back.
Oh,
I mean,
the show's absolutely demonetized now.
But totally, it's like Israel is like land back, right? It's 2,000 years land back, but it's still land back, right?
And how is that working out for them?
Well, if you go land back far enough, everybody's going to land back everybody.
Well, we've just alienated all 17 of our Native American listeners.
Yeah, I suppose. Sorry, Native Americans. Let's go land back.
Dude, the trouble we're about to get into for that might be like the worst thing we've ever said.
What?
Anything that came out of your mouth in the last 3 minutes.
About
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with it. I'm just saying.
So you're not advocating
things are inside
neo-Confederate socialism.
Neo-Confederate.
I mean,
hey, show the flag again. Put the flag up again.
The flag?
Yeah.
This is the new TIR flag. The new TIR flag.
Fuck. I think that's fucking hilarious. That's gonna be the new hot thing on Twitter. Like, you think you're a real leftist? Are you a neo-Confederate?
Are you a neo-Confederate Marxist-Leninist Calhounism?
Violin says that is so disturbing.
That's
slightly. I'm really afraid of that flag. Did you make that flag or did you find it?
No, I made it.
Tell the truth.
I found it.
That's even worse. The truth is worse.
The truth is worse. Yeah.
The truth is worse. If you made it, you're a funny man. But if you found it, I know you found it like this.
Yeah. Well, you gotta always worry about the what's the new left-wing fad online. Well, I'm putting my money on neo-Confederate socialism.
Let's just start a whole trend where we just like tweet out neo-Confederate. Let's make up names and quotes.
Oh yeah, we should totally do that. Ho Chi Minh Federalism.
I wanted to start doing this thing where I would just start quoting Richard Marx, the singer, and calling him Marx quotes.
Yeah. Well, one of Marx's most controversial political stance was that he supported the United States in the Mexican-American War.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Did he really?
Mm-hmm. That was young Marx, though.
He grew out of that stance.
It was a phase.
It was a phase. I told you there's a school here, and me and Ben used to pass it, and we had to ask why there was a picture of Abraham Lincoln and Benito Juarez on the side of the school. There's a massive Abraham Lincoln and Benito Juarez. We're like, I don't think these guys were alive at the same time. We have one more call, Gene.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I think they're calling for you.
Oh, they better not be.
Caller, what is your name and where are you calling from?
Sure, this is Eric from Fresno. I'm actually in Minneapolis right now.
Oh,
I
my
called
goodness.
Because Taylor said to call, so.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
so
hell yeah.
Can you please yell at Taylor so she can feel popular?
No one would yell at me. I'm a sweetheart.
Oh, hey, she made me laugh so much. I really can't. I've laughed at all the yelling I have out, but I'll save some yelling for more. In fact, you give me your address, I'll send you a whole box of it UPS. You'll have to sign for it and pay for it, but that's just, the cross you have to bear.
That's fair. That's fair. We got to put the TIR. We have a TIR address now, and so we have to put that out there.
Oh, snap. Is it like a P.O. box?
Yep.
That's fantastic. No, very, 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 very good. No, but I got to say, I will side with Taylor on one thing. I don't buy the, like you guys were saying earlier, the lonely, oh, man, I got stuff. Because, look, everybody knows we all have the one that'll vouch for us. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if you have 2 or 3 more vouching for you. Oh, no, I swear on my life. No. We're not buying it. We know you set those up, and that's okay. It's look, in fact, from what I understand, what you're wearing now, you can call yourself Barbados Slim. Have a little Caribbean accent, and then go with what you were talking about earlier, and just run with it. Land back.
Oh yeah, Jason has a Barbados Slim. I like that one. Can you do a Jamaican accent, Jason?
No, my Jamaican accent is just going. Booyaka! From the cloud.
Maybe we should do a TIR dance hall album.
That's all I can do is like my impersonation of dance hall from the 90s.
Kill the Batman, kill the Batman dead. Kill the Batman dead. Stab him with a knife.
Like that's all I could do. That's all I could do. I would just walk around like, blow. That's how I think all black people in New York sound. All black people in New York to me are island people, and they all sound like that. Because every time I like Pascal and Tucson do that all the time. We talk about some rapper like, oh, he was Jamaican. Oh, that guy is Haitian. So and so is Haitian. I'm like, fuck. Is there any regular ass black people in New York?
Okay, Mr. ADOS.
Oh, I'm ADOSing the shit out of New York. Take that, New York.
ADOSing New York. He's like
ADOSing. Jersey's the same way.
Okay,
like, how dare you? Your ancestors were on a British or French plantation. Mine were on an American plantation. God damn it!
I think Jason is deflecting a pinch here. Mm-hmm. He does not want to admit that somebody is siding with me because, again, I've never been wrong. So just so you know, there are people out here. I'm not just a conspiracy theorist that thinks that, again, all of this. Oh, Jason can't find a date. Jason hasn't known the touch of another in years.
Bajlan.
No.
Was I not whining yesterday? Gene Bajlan had to hear me whine.
He rang me up. He goes, I've got a date with a hot woman and my tire is flat.
And what happened? I had to get a new tire, and I got what happened to me when I got to the spot.
I don't know what happened in the end.
Oh my God, now you're lying.
They probably went there and had a nice time. It's probably what happened.
I did it. I had a nice, dude. Okay. You know what? I'm not letting you go, caller, because I want you to fucking hear this while you're on the goddamn line.
I was like, look, this is why
he's willing to pay to make sure that you hear this, and that's beautiful.
Jason called me up. He's like, my tire is flat. I'm going on this date with a hot chick, and I was like, ha ha ha. Jason's like tire is flat and his balls are like a space hopper. And then he was like, it's not funny.
I was like that. This is all true. I was bitching at Gene. I was like, Gene, look at the terrain. I got this the 11th tire I bought since I've been here in like 2 years. I got to the place. And it was the most beautiful restaurant. I called Tucson. And I'm like, in a video call, I'm like, dude, look at this place. It's so cool. I was like, I think I might get stood up though. And so the waiter comes and he's like, you want to order? I was like, oh no, I'm waiting for somebody else. And then I felt like everybody was looking at me like, oh, watch this Negro get stood up. And then I had that feeling like everybody was looking, and the waiter kept coming by, you want to order something now? And I was like, nah, I'm still waiting. And I waited like almost an hour.
I don't believe this. I'm waiting for a second.
I finally just ordered for myself.
What did you get?
They had this amazing pulled pork breakfast sandwich that was.
What time are you meeting this girl?
This was like brunch.
On a Friday?
Yeah.
She's
That's
probably
not a good.
work.
She was look. We were supposed to meet today. She's like, can't do it. I was like, all right. And the next day, I was like, let's go to this spot, and totally flaked.
I love that I'm just grilling Jason about getting stood up.
This is the truth.
I don't buy it.
Gene will tell you. Gene has to hear all these stories.
Jason has very specific tastes in women. They have to be between the ages of 38 and 50. They have to go to the gym, but they also have to have a nice C-section scar or something like that. They have to. Jason wants a divorcee with a 15-year-old kid.
Okay.
Who knows what she likes and will sit and watch 80s movies with him and laugh.
Yes.
That's what he wants.
That's it.
Any woman under the age of 35 is basically a 7-year-old to Jason.
Exactly.
He's like,
if the hair is not all gray, I say no way.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ. Wow. I was not expecting that.
Hey, wait till you hear about Pascal's preferences.
Trustworthy. Well, hey, come on now. Pascal's on that other level, right?
I don't know, Pascal.
He's from way back.
This.
Pascal's there checking that bus pass.
Somebody said that Jason's into gilfs.
No, Jason's into milfs. Pascal's into.
They could be gilfy if a grandma comes by in the right age,
like a Jane Fonda. Okay,
well, you're in Mexico, so that's not too unlikely.
But everyone's married in Mexico.
Exactly. Jason is like in MILF Central in a beautiful location. And he's like, I can't find
in West Fresno or East LA. I mean, that's, hey, you almost can't tell the difference.
Dude, they're either 25 or 68, and I'm trying to find something.
He's like, all I want is a divorcee in her 40s with teen kids.
That's it.
That's all.
That's all you want.
That's all you want in life.
That's all you want. And again, what's the motto? If it's not all gray, I say
Jason says no way.
Jason, someone asked a very interesting question, and I do want you to answer it. Is a gilf in her 40s a red flag?
It depends on.
It sounds like she was having a good time when she was younger, and she got it out of the way, and kids are following family tradition.
Right? Like my first answer would be like, oh no, but if you start hearing like a crazy ass story about getting locked up and like shooting the baby daddy and all kind of other shit, then it's like, maybe this is a little
that's real stuff people associate with grandmothers.
Live my life, Taylor.
Grandmother's in Oakland.
You know what Gene's telling?
Don't pretend like the Ozarks isn't very.
That's what I'm saying. Taylor knows she's a bunch of 30-year-old grandmas.
You can't lie to me, Taylor. I know what's going on in this place.
I was going to say, man, I think we all got the market cornered on that. I mean, West Fresno here, Mexico there, East LA, and I think it's the accent that helps Gene. That's just makes it all believable. So,
which
Gene didn't have that problem at Oxford.
At Oxford, well, there is Cowley in Oxford.
Is that like the hood?
That's the Oxford hood. It's not really a hood, but it's kind of like the Oxford hood.
So just where working class people are.
I mean, they're not even working class. They're all that. Oxford's like more expensive than London, so like everybody's like crappy houses are worth like £500,000. So it is what it is. Is old Oxford, but the Ozarks, it's cheap and cheerful. I've learned so much since I moved here. I've learned the importance of not taking meth on your dental health. I've learned like the best way to convince conservatives to support abortion is to talk to them about what might happen at a family reunion. And
that's a low blow.
It's a low blow. It's a low blow.
Do you really want her bringing Jason's grandchildren to you?
What else have I learned since I came here? No, it's fine. I've learned that American food is terrible, And
you live in the home of cashew chicken. Listen, I've been mean to Jason all day, and don't think I won't do it to you too.
Gene, there's great food in the middle of the country.
If you like slop, yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
hell
God.
yeah, I do.
You come
Give me
from
some of that
the
Ozark
worst
slop, baby.
food place in the world.
Britain is not the worst food
There's
place in the
no
world.
food worse than
No,
that of where you are from.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's a bold statement.
Like,
You eat some beans on your toast this
That
morning?
ruins his credibility.
Yeah,
I had some
dude.
beans on my toast yesterday.
Oh,
That's
my
disgusting, and you should go to
God.
jail.
And
it's not
I-
even like it's not even like
No, you-
proper beans. It's like some little foofy ass shitty beans and
Look, man.
nasty ass gravy.
Look, I have to
Do
order
not
my
give me
beans.
Nasty
I have to order my
gravy.
beans from Amazon because I can't get the good beans here.
Did you just say the words? I want to just be very clear for everybody, including myself and everybody in the chat. Did you just say you have to order your beans from Amazon?
Yeah, I have to order
get-
my beans and my Marmite from Amazon, which actually you've reminded me. So I'm going on Amazon right now to order
To
my
get more
tomato
beans
soup.
so you
Yeah.
can ruin your child's school lunch. So your child can get beat up for the rest of his life at school. You put pork and beans in your the hell is wrong with your parents?
They're from England.
Yeah.
I'm British.
I just want a Lunchable, Dad. Just turning and laughed at. Goddamn crumpets.
Crumpets are good.
Hey, man.
It's
guys
French fries all, not a goddamn
Children.
chip. Yeah,
Oh man, you can't get Heinz tomato soup on Amazon.
I'm trying to protect his son from, redneck ass whoopings.
I think it's the other way around. I think we need to protect the children from Zal's whoopings.
You got a problem with my beans, eh?
Got my beans, mate.
I don't know why, but I just imagine your child
just-
going
yeah.
to school of a little like English coal miner. He's got like dirt smudged on his face. He's got just like a pail. He's just got like a can of beans and a can opener.
All right, Mum. My mummy only gives me beans for dinner.
Yeah.
Mummy.
I'd like chips with my Big Mac, eh?
Actually, he speaks really. He speaks really funny. Like he goes, "Could I have some beans and some water?" Okay.
What's funny is Gene was in the UK. He was back home and his kids went with him, and his little son picked up a bit of the accent. So we were joking about how his kids are going to talk like Nathan Robinson.
So long as they don't dress like Nathan Robinson, I'm fine with it.
Who is that? They called him the Plantation Riddler. That's still
Yeah.
That was Amy.
the AI
Therese.
known as Amy Therese.
The AI known as Amy Therese.
Well, that's the funniest stuff that thing has ever come up with.
Yeah. Robo AI. Plantation Riddler is a good one. And he lives in freaking New Orleans.
Just walking around like a dandy fop.
Yeah.
With a pocket watch.
With a
With a
parasol.
pocket watch.
parasol.
With a parasol.
With a parasol. I do declare my name's
Golf in
Nathan
his hat
Robinson, and I own myself a lovely, a fine
Sweetie.
left-wing magazine.
It is literally like that episode when on King of the Hill,
Bobby-
when the Hills
Bobby went to
goes to New Orleans
yeah.
and meets Bill's Cajun family. He's like, I do declare I'm wilting like a flower in the hot sun. And then like he has like this velvet pajamas and Hank throws him out the
Guillaume.
Well, Bobby, God damn it, Bobby. Why you being such a queer, Bobby? It's like, you can know that. God damn it, Bobby. You know who does the best Hank Hill impression? John Graham.
It's beautiful.
John Graham. John Graham's from Texas.
He is from Texas.
We got to get John Graham back on the show.
He absolutely sliced the Bobby.
We have.
Bobby, what the hell are you doing?
Well, look, hold on. We got it. We got it. Look, this call right now has just
Yeah.
cost me the majority of the budget. Caller, thank you very much.
Thank you
Yep,
so
hey,
much. I
have a
love
good
that
one,
you
guys.
think I'm
No, this is
right.
Great.
Take care, Eric. Thank you.
You guys
Thank
take
you.
care.
Bobby.
This is why you guys tune in. This is the free champagne. So we've been giving you guys free champagne. I said I was going to open up the phone lines
It's Jason's champagne showers Saturday.
because Gene Bajlan, when we talked about the show for Thursday, And he goes, "Oh, do you want to take Thursday off?" And I was like, "Of course that sounds great." You know, I thought I was going to have this great Friday thing planned. I was going to be able to tell you a story about
We
Friday.
cannot fucking do this again.
Right? I was going to tell Gene this great story about Friday.
Land.
And the only story Gene gets is, "Can you believe?
Can you believe it? Don't make jokes. Don't make jokes. Not funny. 11 tires. 11 tires. Like
11 Taylor, you know what? This is not a lie. There are some things I say on this show that is not true about my life. This part is true. 11 tires. 11 tires I purchased in less than
I grew up in the sticks on a dirt road. I actually genuinely sympathize with you.
11 tires.
How long have you lived there?
Less than 2 years.
That's insane.
You need a monster truck.
I need a monster truck, dude.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the spare off, or I couldn't get the tire off.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get the bolts off. It's like, fuck. So I had to go down and get a new tire, like on the flat, damn near rolling on the rim. I was so pissed. But I was like, oh, it's all going to make up for it when I go to this spot and the things. It didn't happen, dude. Didn't happen.
Sure. I bet it didn't.
You can fly. You are more than welcome to fly. You want to be my date for the spot? It was a really nice spot.
Absolutely. I love brunch.
You say that now, you're going to flake.
Wouldn't it be funny? I should literally fly out there and then not show up.
Flake. This would be like everybody else. That would suck, dude.
No. If you swing through here, I'll take you to a nice brunch spot. How's that?
If you take me to the Starbucks, I'm going to be pissed.
No, she's going to take you to the Golden Corral or the Cracker Barrel.
Number one,
I love Cracker Barrel, first of all.
Okay, yeah, first of all, and now you can buy booze at Cracker Barrel, so think on that for a second. Also, somebody drove through our Golden Corral, and it has not reopened yet. So
somebody drove into the Panera in Springfield.
Okay, I will say in Springfield, Missouri.
What do you mean drove through?
No, like literally in Springfield, Missouri, and I don't live there, but most of my friends live there.
Yes.
I feel like once a goddamn week, somebody is running their car through some business. They ran it through a dispensary. They ran it through the Panera. They ran it through a bank one time. They ran it through the Pasta Express one time. This Panera
is still closed.
Yeah, Panera's been recent.
Yeah, the Panera was like, it was when I was back in England.
The Cracker Barrel.
Jason, if you think there is only one Cracker Barrel in Springfield, Missouri, you are out of your fucking mind.
I think there's like one in California, and it's in the most like fucked off city ever. This place called.
I think there's two. Is there 2 or 3 Golden Corrals? Because I only ever go to the one next to Best Buy.
I haven't been to a Golden Corral since Pocatello, Idaho.
We also have an all-you-can-eat Italian restaurant.
That sounds like a nightmare.
The Hill. I mean, it's about as Italian as Harvey, but
no, absolutely. Harvey's my favorite Italian. She is an Italian American, 100%.
Yeah, and the food in the Italian.
I feel like everywhere has a hipster little area of town. And I'm sure like there's a place in Fayetteville where like there's all
Fayetteville's full of hipsters.
Like cool,
they've got
cool
Eugene,
tattoos.
They've got Eugene,
and a shitty attitude. And they're gonna make a latte with like a little heart on it for you. And
it's called Puritan.
They're gonna have like brioche French toast.
They have that in Springfield.
What other toast would you make French toast with?
It's just
if you were making number one, if you are, I'm getting way off topic. We're talking about this is the actual true crime. Is if you are making French toast with anything other than brioche, I want you to block me on all social media. I do not want to see the way you're living your life. That's an affront to God. Just spend the extra money. You can get brioche for like $4 at Aldi because, like, listen, I am bougie on a budget too. Oh my God.
Jean is just going to take me to the
I've just got a message from Sarah. She says, you're devolving into talking about food and it's boring.
Hey,
you've been told.
Hey. Well,
I think it's always good to get feedback.
Exactly.
If Bajlan talks about it, then we're in trouble.
Yeah,
and that's the bottom line.
And with that, I'm going to have to depart because I think I have to do some hoovering, well, as you Americans call it, vacuuming.
Okay. Thank you for joining us, Gene Bajlan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Wrong sound.
What did you
It was
just call
wonderful
me?
to see you.
What did you just call me? Jason, there have been podcasters demanding Jason start beef with other podcasters. And my suggestion is just calling them the N-word.
Yeah, Gene goes, they just want to hear you call so-and-so the N-word.
Which is true. It's true. It's true.
Doing the Rhodesian accent, though.
I tell you, Jason Morris, you just drop the N-word on those guys. Now, I'm not going to use the word we use in South Africa, because I think it would get us demonetized. There you go. Maybe I should do the whole White Guy Wednesday in a Rhodesian accent.
I'll
tell you, Ian Smith had a lot of problems, but he was an anti-colonialist. The unilateral Declaration of Independence was decolonization for the white people of Rhodesia.
Gene, are you looking at the chat?
What's the chat?
Someone said, where's the eating ass soundboard? You weren't on that champagne room when we watched that video, that chick. And we made Pascal watch it, and his eyes got as big as Oreo cookies.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't sent you that song.
Oh, and I sent you the Rhodesia, a country denied song.
Yeah. Pascal goes, is that Rhodesia like Zimbabwe?
It's like Rhodesia, the country. I was like, what the hell is this? Rhodesia, a country denied. It's like, you're lucky you guys didn't get them. Like, Pascal listens to that and he's like sitting there shaking, sharpening his machete. It's the only thing that will get him out the house. It's like, come on, Pascal. There's some Rhodesians. And he's like, I'm ready.
Dude, we've been getting so many comments. We've been getting so many comments about the Harry Potter and then the Rotel song. Because me and MT have been doing a thing where we review. So in the champagne room, if you guys want access to it, you can see MT and I review music from the internet. And that is really funny. The comments and also the dance videos, the comments you guys leave are hilarious.
I was so sad that I could not be on the episode where you guys were reviewing that lady sexy rapper. Like, she's real horny. The horny.
Oh, that lady.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jason just sent me like 8 of the most fucked up Instagram reels of just this lady just rapping about getting railed. And not there's anything wrong with that. I'm pro.
You're pro getting railed.
Yes.
She always starts off every rhyme when she's got a legendary clitoris.
Yeah, she got a legendary clitoris, and I don't really
know what that means.
I need to know more.
It's magical. It's magical. Well, what's his name? The do you remember? I can't remember the name of the woman, but there was that like Dutch rapper. There was that Dutch rapper lady who was doing like terrible rapping.
You talking about the? Wasn't she African? That is Iggy Azalea?
No, not Iggy Azalea. There was like just a random Dutch rapper. It was like I just can't remember. Just super funny. There's some great rapping. I do like the whole grime scene. There's like some great whole rappers out there, like bounce, 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 pass me the fucking dance, or like
Jesus Christ,
a metaphor galore, metaphor. And a mucky bum, yeah. I don't know what they're talking about. Yeah,
what's a mucky bum?
This is probably British culture. I don't want to.
It's something I have to deal with my children.
Yeah, sounds like what you have to deal with the baby. Oh, a mucky bum, man.
It's a mucky bum. It's a mucky bum. Pro getting railed, aren't we all? Taylor, still undefeated, never wrong.
Never wrong. I literally just took a picture of that comment. So Bad Lefty, you listen. I always every time I'm on This Is Revolution, I leave with a favorite commenter, and I'm not saying I'm picking favorites, but Bad Lefty might be it today.
Oh, De Antvert. I remember De Antvert. Do you remember those guys? De Antvert.
They were a band that everybody pretended like, this is great. I love listening to this. It doesn't give me a migraine. And they're like, yeah, I love noises, and I love these South African people screaming these noises at me.
They were in Chappie, so
They got in trouble.
oh, did they? What did they do?
They got in trouble because they said
What did they say?
they said they asked at a festival what group the woman wanted to see, and she's like, oh, I kind of want to see Drake. And then they saw Drake because they liked his song, like Started from the Bottom or whatever, and they didn't know anything about him. And so when they saw him live, they thought his show was whack. And so I think the dude said, when they commenting about, well, what'd you think of Drake? Excuse me. I think he said they thought he was gay or something like that. And so they got in a lot of trouble, and then they like pulled a lot of the marketing budget for Chappie with them in it, with them, because they're in it too.
Yeah, they're in Chappie.
They pulled the marketing with them in it, and then they ended up touring with Drake.
Oh, that was uncomfortable.
No, they said he was such kind of, they're like, they didn't realize he was from Canada, and that he wasn't.
That's why he was gay.
Yeah. They were kind of like, it basically called him kind of a great big sissy. And yeah, there's a funny video, if you want to see it, of him talking about going to Kanye West's house, and then Kanye West challenging Drake to a basketball.
I remember that. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's like
it's kind of, the way he tells it is kind of funny. He does kind of seem like a shitty dude. Yeah, someone said that's peak 90s for a 14-year-old. Yeah. It's
peak forever for a 14-year-old. Okay, lads, I'm off to do my hoovering.
Okay.
Wonderful to see you.
The patriarchy is dead in my house, and so Bubba must participate.
The beans killed it.
The beans killed it, exactly. If I don't feed the children beans, that's all they want to eat is Heinz baked beans. You can't get them to eat anything else.
Because they don't know any better.
They do. Sarah cooks that makes them like vegetables and healthy food, and they just throw it at her. They're like, "Give me beans, give me beans,
Mommy, where's the beans?
Where's the beans?
Are we poor? Do we not see?
Mommy, where's the blood sausage?"
I actually found a place to buy black pudding in Springfield, so I'm winning at life. You can buy Mexican black pudding from Latino Mart.
Everything you're saying right now sounds mad suspect.
Well, Latino Mart is the Middle Eastern / Mexican, one of the Middle East / Mexican shops in Springfield.
Still don't want to know about the black pudding you're buying on.
I sent you a picture of it. I sent you a picture of it. That big, long black.
You
sausage.
did. I thought you were. I'll stop because we're talking too personally now, because I don't want people to know what you are like.
I just sent you a picture of my lovely breakfast. Oh my
I just
God.
don't want them to know the truth.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Bye bye.
Can't save you. All right.
Bye.
Bye, Gene.
Bye.
Let me get the right soundboard effect so I don't call you the N-word. Thank you, Gene. Taylor,
Yes.
thank you for hanging out with me for 2.5 hours on Saturday morning.
It's been wonderful.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for calling.
Thank you.
Take the number off the screen so people don't remember it. My phone starts ringing. When I first started doing this,
Mm-hmm.
I had another number up and people just called it. I was like, why? Please stop. So let me take that down, because I have flashbacks of the dumbest thing ever that I could have done. You know, you live and you learn, Taylor.
You do.
live and you learn.
Have we all not fallen short of the glory of God, I suppose?
That's what I'll tell myself as I sit alone.
Oh my, I'm gonna disconnect now. Yeah, someone do a fucking welfare check on Jason at the cafe. He doesn't get
That's
a
why I
date
leave my
soon.
door unlocked. So if they smell the body, they can just come in. Like, don't break the door down. Just come in. It's unlocked.
I don't. Again, talked about this plenty. The people of your audience know where I stand on this propaganda. And
I'm gonna start taking pictures of me just like alone at the camp.
Please send those to me. We talk almost every day. Send those to me.
One tear rolling down my cheek.
He's probably gonna get whatever hot girls with him to take the picture.
Is it a bit or is it the truth?
I mean, I know what it is, but
you people are the worst.
You rang?
The worst, dude. I can't believe you guys.
I'm unionizing the comments against you.
I don't care. Gene really was there for my phone call, and he knows how mad I was with the flat. Well, he was there for the flat tire. I swear he was there for the other part, but I guess not. But Toussaint was. So you can ask Toussaint. You guys can all bum rush Toussaint's social media. She would love to hear from you. And be like, is this true? She'd be like, yes. Because she has to hear about my entire life. That's why she makes the big bucks. She has to tell me to not do certain things. Don't do that.
I firmly, everybody needs a friend like that. Like I have a friend that, my best friend Elaine, she will tell me no. And that's a very wonderful thing in a friendship. I asked her if I should bleach my eyebrows the other day and she was like, absolutely not. Don't do that. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I think that's the last embarrassing thing I'll reveal today is that I did almost bleach my eyebrows. Almost being the key word. I did not do it though.
What would possess one to even think to like that was going to be the move?
Have you ever gotten really high and stared at yourself in a mirror for too long?
I've been boring my whole life.
Okay, we're not, no. You're not going to turn, you are not going to use the story that I'm telling about myself to get attention to do this. Absolutely not.
Every decision I've made, especially the bad ones, stone cold sober.
That's incredible. And I think it's a beautiful story.
You know why? Because I never wanted to have drugs being an excuse for a bad decision. I always felt like people just wanted to do shit and they just lied. Like, I was really high. Like, you probably wanted to do that anyway. So I just do shit stone cold sober. And I'm like, dude, you really? Yep, I did it. I did that.
This has been a truly illuminating chat.
What's funny is when you see people writing in the comments that are watching the show later, but their chat comments come up in the timeline.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh, pedophiles. Because you're watching this show from them.
Yeah.
Oh, and before we go, fucking rest in peace. Daniel Ellsberg passed away.
Oh, yes.
Did you see that?
I did.
And the Iron Sheik passed away.
So did Cormac McCarthy.
Like, what's going on?
Big week for annoying people on the internet for people who have passed away.
Oh, they like bitch, like, why you care?
Leftist pro wrestling fans who love a sad novel. We're really checking off some boxes. I've been able to make a lot of posts about me this week, and I think that's great.
Taylor, before we go, when is your show going to get off the ground?
Very soon. I think we're recording the first episode in a couple of weeks. So be on the lookout. Something is imminent. And you will be involved.
Okay, so I can be on it.
Of course.
Okay.
I just assumed you were going to be on there.
I don't know. I don't get phone calls.
I stood him up probably for inviting him.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. See? This is the truth is coming out now.
Important to know, Jason and I speak almost every single day via text. So
that is a true story.
yeah, we'll get you on there. Don't worry.
Where is it?
I did one more embarrassing thing. I did, we'll never reveal the contents of what it said. I did send Jason a voice memo when I was drunk off about 18 Busch Light peaches in Oklahoma a few weeks ago. That was fun.
Is that when when we went off on the Taylor Swift tangent?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I think it was like 3 minutes long. So
yes,
we'll be in contact. I'll probably talk to you.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll probably be in contact with you 20 minutes after this ends. So
yes, we were going back and forth. Okay, look, thank you guys for watching.
Yes.
Now you know why I love doing the Saturday show. I hope the sun is shining wherever you guys are, unless you're somewhere where the moon is out.
I hope you have sweet dreams and bright tomorrows.
So let's listen to some chill music that I made for my 4-year-old to go to sleep to.
Aww.
And we are